Good evening, and welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Our call to order will be by, roll call will be by Melissa.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Here.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Here.
Mayor Maples.
Here.
And Commissioner Jones is absent this evening.
We will now have our invocation by Pastor Doug Mund of Grace Fellowship Church. Please stand.
I thank you for the opportunity to pray here tonight. If we can bow our heads. Heavenly Father, our God and Creator, we thank you for this opportunity to meet civilly as a city. I pray a blessing and wisdom over our commissioners for doing business, for all the workers here at the city, from city manager to all those people working throughout the day and in the evening. Lord, keep them safe. And Lord, as our town goes into the end of summer and now with schools right around the corner, I just pray for the youth in our community, the teachers, the administration, the school districts, the colleges. I pray your blessing over them and the work they do. And Father, I pray for our community, that we would be blessed not just for our own benefit, but to help those who are in need, guide our community leaders in different areas of business, and that we would work together for the betterment of our community, not just thinking about our own entities, but being willing to work together, thinking more highly of others than ourselves. I pray this over our meeting tonight and over our community, Father, for your grace and glory. We pray this empowered by your Holy Spirit. In the name and character of your Son, Jesus Christ, let these things be. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Munn.
Thank you.
We will now have a review of the agenda. Our consent agenda. Number 1, the City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. Number 2, ordinance G-25-02, an ordinance repealing Chapter 2, Article 6, Division 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, relating to the Coffeyville Regional Medical Center Board of Trustees, and the 2025 Appropriation Ordinance, number AO-25-15, in the amount of $2,052,775.74. Vice Mayor Van Oster, did you have some highlights of the consent agenda?
Yes, I have some highlights from that, just so that everybody kind of gets a feel where our money goes. Algar Martin and Associates, we have $9,493. This is for pay estimate number 11 on the Brown Street sewer engineer design, and for pay estimate number 8 on the 8th Street water line. We have Apache Industries. This is $1,302.10. I thought a lot of people would be interested in this because this is for the fountain housing in the Sunken Garden Park out of the fountain at Feaster Park that we're working on and coming along quite nicely. BG Consultants. This is also some engineering design. This is pay estimate number 17 for the CDBG Trail grant proposal, and for the Gibson Street replat. It's number 1, and that's $4,155 for that total of $17,900. We have Coffeyville Plaza 2 LLC. That is the shopping center out where King's and Beals are, and a couple of other businesses. This is for that CID tax we enacted, $5,678.77. We have Coffeyville Regional Medical Center. This is their sales tax distribution, $102,458. We have Hample Oil Distributors Incorporated. This is for jet fuel at our airport, $22,631.96. We have the KMGA Gas Supply Operating Fund. This is $451,118. We have Kane Construction Services. This is for the multi-use trail, pay estimate number 5, $182,205. Meridian Health, this is for life insurance premiums, $42,534. And Meridian Health again, and these are for health insurance claims paid, $93,393. We have Neil Hotels. This is also a CID tax that's been in action. This is in conjunction with the Holiday Inn on the east side of town, $5,267. Swindell Excavation, $135,850. This is for house demolition. This comes out of our trash fund for homes that are left for us to take care of. And then we have payroll of $442,156.55. Those are the big highlights I have.
Questions?
Yeah, I had one question. We have the seasonal parks labor. When is that slated to start dwindling down?
When does the first freeze come through? So on the mowing the grass, we could go, of course, I've only been in Kansas 2 years, but into October and November. Several of them have got school, so you're going to see that naturally go away. We'll still have some of that work to do. Golf seasonal labor, some of those have school. Of course, the pool is going to be decreasing rapidly as school starts and we move to just shorter hours. So you'll see that regularly decrease over the next few months.
All right, thanks.
Melissa, could you comment on the CRMC trustees? ordinance,
Sure,
please?
yeah. So as you guys remember, on June 24, 2025, City Commission passed Ordinance S-2505 to dissolve its governance of Coffeyville Regional Medical Center and transfer the ownership to a nonprofit corporation. That ordinance also turned over governance of the Coffeyville Regional Medical Center to the CRMC Board of Directors, which eliminated the need for the city-appointed Board of Trustees. So accordingly, it is now necessary to adopt this ordinance that will repeal that chapter, division, and section of our Code of Ordinances that references the CRMC Board.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, I move to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have any comments from the public? Well, hello there.
My name is Linda Follett, Lindafollettt. My address is 2019 and a half South Walnut here in Coffeyville. Mayor and Commissioners, I have an announcement and an invitation to issue to all of you, and to all of you, and to all of you who are watching this. I am the Executive Director of Genesis, the food pantry here in Coffeyville. And most people don't know this. We didn't really make a big announcement, but now we are. In March, CVR Energy donated the building that we have been in since about 2000. We started Genesis in this building right here in a very small office. And I'm not sure what year, I think it was 2000, 2001. CVR allowed us to come into one of their buildings. It's right next to Ace Hardware. And they have been letting us use this rent-free and also paying all the bills, including the utilities, ever since. Although we did not have access to the huge warehouse that it was attached to. In March, they signed the quitclaim deed, and it does now belong to the 501c3 Genesis Inc. of Coffeyville. So what we have been doing since March, we have been remodeling the building that we were in all those years, switching it from a traditional food pantry where you come in and here, we give you your food. I hope you like Cocoa Krispies or whatever it is we're going to, garbanzo beans, that's a big one. I hope we like that because that's what you're getting. And I've wanted to change this for years, but we did not have the space. We have the space. And with the help of a $25,000 capacity building grant from the Sunflower Foundation, we were able to do the work on the inside of the building. With other grants, we were able to buy equipment, including Coffeyville Foundation grant, more equipment to help us serve people better. And we just opened the doors. Oh, well, we've been open all this time, but we opened the other door and we started client choice last week. And it is everything that I ever hoped it would be. The people come in the waiting room and they go, wow. That's the word I hear the most. We're colorful. We're friendly. We have guides to walk them through. We have a new computer program, and our clients actually get an ID card with a QR code on it. So we're scanning them. I tell them we're just like the airport, except I don't think we'll do the metal detectors, but who knows. We're having fun at the food bank. We have a great big plant about this high, and we're having a name the plant contest. So we're just having fun, and the people are loving it, both the volunteers and the clients. I asked one man what he thought, and he said, I feel like I'm stealing from a grocery store. So we're really excited. So we are having a grand reopening celebration, August 23rd, which is a Saturday, from 10 to 12. And we are going to just celebrate our change. We're going to have a dedication of we're naming the warehouse after one of our volunteers who volunteered for 22 years, who passed away last year. Mayor Marples is going to say a few words, but I'd like to invite you all because this is about Coffeyville. It's already put Coffeyville on the news. They're coming back to do a story on this, and this will put Coffeyville on the map for how to have a food pantry. So come celebrate with us. August 23rd, 10 till 12 o'clock. Any questions?
Thank you.
Linda, yes. Maybe a silly question. It's been some time since I've been in the building, but is the telephone issue fixed now?
Yes, it is, at least for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, every time it rained. We had no telephone service, but we think that's fixed now.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy,
Good evening.
I'm James Hazen, H-A-Z like in zebra, E-N. I live at 306 Gibson. I'm here as president of the Senior Center. I'm the board president, and we'd like to address the fact of the parking lot park idea, because we have so many people that are older than me, and we use walkers and canes, and right now, even the gravel is hard for them to walk on. So what we'd really like, and especially on Monday when you have court, it's really hard for our seniors to get to the building because the parking goes in all directions. And sometimes when you park, you can't get out because people have got you surrounded. So what we'd like is blacktop with some paint for marking, you know, you're going to park this way or this way. And then we like the park idea. And we were thinking on this end, on the south end, you could go out 20, 25 feet or so and do your park idea. My wife, who is really good at drawing up things, drew up an idea, but to put on the south end, you could put a tree or two. Your big pots that you put in town are really nice. And then we could have some benches over there, you know, that people could sit on, and maybe a couple of trash cans, because you know how people are. So what we're really asking for is we need the parking space. We have 80 names on the petition here, you know, requesting the fact that we would really like to have blacktop there, just like your park idea, but for parking for our seniors, because it's a difficult situation for a lot of us. And then, like I said, if you'll just think about this end, you could beautify this end in a lot of different ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James, James? Hello?
Oh,
Up here.
I'm sorry. I have hearing aids and I don't quite.
My wife says I need hearing aids too, so I feel your pain, brother. Could you please give that little map that you've got there, give that to our city manager, please?
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think he'll also,
Thank you.
sir, he'll also need the petition. There, okay. There we go. Okay.
Hello,
Hi, good evening.
Marcus Castler, 502 Overlook Street. I have two questions. One, I'd like to hear an update of if any railroad crossings are looking to be fixed. I know a long time ago they said they're going to help fix them, but on a daily basis I go down there for my job, and it's literally like avoiding landmines. It feels like south of the area, it feels like a land that time has forgotten on some of the roads. I know 10 years ago or so we had road maps that were going to fix down that area, and it never got fixed. But people are tired of going down that road and having to worry about suspensions and car scraping. It's gotten to the point where I take my son down to work down there, and it's a spot where I don't scratch on something. I don't know who's I know they're responsible, but I don't know how does the city keep them responsible and accountable? That's my first question.
You talking about
Would
the
you like me to-
railroad?
Yes, the railroad tracks, all of them. There's the Willow, the
He knows,
Walnut.
because we've been over this
I'm just asking for an update.
times.
Yeah, would you like me to respond to?
You can, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, you are correct. It is horrible. I'm not sure, I've been in many towns where it's worse. What I have found out since being city manager is it's literally an act of Congress to get the railroad to do something. And so we're next to powerless when it comes to working with the railroad. Probably 6 to 7 months ago, we documented every railroad crossing in town and the severity of them with pictures and links, and we submitted that all to Senator Peck. I would encourage, anybody that talks to me, I encourage them to talk to our state representatives because they've got more power and authority at that level to deal with UP
So
specifically.
you're talking about which ones?
Peck and Bryce. Virgil
Bryce.
Peck, yeah,
Okay.
Ron Bryce. So reaching out to their offices, and if they keep hearing from people. Now, that being said, there is supposed to be some updates we're told about. Now, there was one early in the spring that we were told about up here on, I think, First Street, and we got all excited, and they went out and did that work, and we came back and said, that was your update? It was still bumpy. So I know there was some other planned updates. I'm looking at Jim in the back. Jim, did those other planned updates they told us about warrant anything significant?
They were going to update the crossings on Willow, and they are still in the process of that, trying to accumulate all the materials to get that started.
So over on Willow, we've been told they're going to do upgrades.
That's
So
Willow by Taylor's place, or,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. All right, because it is, and I know you guys can't do anything with crossings. I looked up lots of stuff on the railroad. I looked up quiet zones, which is a big hassle. I've looked up railroad crossings and how long things sit there. That's also an act of Congress to do. I just feel like we're being held hostage by them.
Well, just to add what Ben said, it's what you're talking about, and we battled this 20 years ago on the commission.
Say that
Same
again.
thing. We battled this 20 years ago on the commission. Same situation, same
Well, it's been years, and I don't
condition.
know what else to do, but
And it's usually not UP. UP keeps their crossings up, it's the other.
I just was trying to find out. I have a lot of people talk to me about it every day. Like I said, every day during the school year, I go down that way, and it's downright
Yeah,
terrible.
Willow,
It's
Willow,
ridiculous.
Walnut.
Yes, it is
really
ridiculous. My second question, and I'm not trying to stir any problems, but I would kind of like some feedback on your selection process of the last person. After Don Edwards got on, you selected Pam Jones. Usually it's a different process, and I was trying to figure out why we didn't do it that certain way that we usually do it and just selected the one person.
Well, as of what happened a recent time, we were approaching budget, and we were ready to move. We felt she was the best one. She is up here. She has no agenda. She knows and understands the budget and our process. And so that we asked her first, and she thought about it and got back to us.
Okay.
Yes, you can go through, interview, do selections, but to be honest and give the commission enough time to do that, you're talking about a month. Well, that's not,
I've been on several of those,
that
and it didn't take
doesn't
that long. I don't remember. But
that doesn't help us when we're trying to do work sessions and budgeting. Because we've met four evenings for at least 3 hours, maybe one a little bit longer. And that's what the process is. And we are fine to do that. I've
I understand
checked
that. It
with
just
the
doesn't
league and everything and what we can and cannot do, but
feel
that
right
is-
to me, so that's my opinion. I'll take it with you. I have no problem with Pam. I like her, but I just feel that maybe you should have looked at some other people and at least tried. So that's my piece with that. Thank you.
Well, and I'll add to that, what Commissioner Van Oster said is, the other thing was, if it was a 3.5-year term left.
Oh, yeah.
We probably would have done that.
Yeah.
But we have 6 months, and we had budget left, and 6 months is a real short time, and we thought Pam could fill that in quickly for 6 months.
Do you have to have a full seating to do a budget? I mean,
We'd prefer
Well, we
it.
prefer.
you prefer,
It's- Well,
but
yeah. It's
You've all
very-
been on it
to
long
me,
enough.
it's
You guys
very
know budgets.
important that we have all 5 and we all collaborate. And
Well, and
that's,
you need to, because we need to fill that 5th spot, because if you don't, and one person is sick, you don't have a quorum.
No.
You can't, and then you can't
So,
continue with
okay.
the meeting.
I understand that.
So that's
It-
why.
Like I said,
Yeah.
doesn't suit right with me, but that's just an opinion of one voter, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James?
Go to bed, we're all.
James?
I need to find out when the next dinner is over there.
Thanks. I wish, I bet,
See ya.
See ya.
well, it was the truth. But I
Okay, do we have any other comments from the public? You? All right,
respect.
come on down.
Bye-bye.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name's Max Williams. I live at 3408 West First Street. And I'm here with a question. Who or what's going to do something about the people that live in Kansas and run around with Oklahoma license plates on? It's terrible. And then
It is.
people are not paying their fair share to take care of our county. And something needs to be done about it.
Mr. Williams, have you been watching any of the meetings?
No,
Okay.
yes.
Some of them
I
were,
watched it last time and you didn't have any sound. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. Do you
Well-
have a
That's the other-
monitor to know where you got
and,
sound?
you know, we have discussed this.
Many times.
Many times, and I know, can you speak, Ben? So that way we're all, because you've got the answer, we know the answer, but I'd like it to
They're
come
working
from
on
you,
it.
because you, well,
Yeah,
makes it
and I'm
difficult.
gonna lean on Paul if I say something incorrect here, but at the highest level, this is the responsibility of the county attorney when it comes to call it policing that. And so we started looking into what are other options, including our police changing our traffic ordinances to be able to allow and address it. And it just kept opening up other issues. And so at that point, commission elected for us to go reach out to other communities. And our police chief reached out to 8. We got a response from 2, all of them border communities. And both of them said, we don't do anything about that. That's the county if they do. When we've gone to the county attorney, the response is, they understand that's a concern and an issue, but that their docket is so full of felony crimes that that's what they're choosing to focus their time on. So we're kind of in the,
So if I want to do that, I can do it. You're not going to do anything about it.
from a legal standpoint, we, the city, cannot do anything about
No.
it. Unless,
Not
I'll,
right.
I'll harass you about it. That's what I'll do.
You got a business right here in town that's got several vehicles. He does business here in town and he's got Oklahoma tags on these vehicles. That ain't right.
Yeah.
He's making his living here in Coffeyville.
yeah.
He ought to be helping us out.
Yeah, I think that, again, legal standpoint for.
Can we not
group-
talk to the county attorney and tell
Yeah,
him?
so Monday mornings is their commission, and this exact same setting, but in Independence. And that's probably the best place for any residents to go vocalize those concerns, because that's the Office of Accountability.
Somebody ought to realize the revenue they're losing.
Yeah.
I just seen the paper, we're losing 1.2 million on property tax. I don't know how much we're losing on license tags, but it's gonna be a sizable sum when people ain't paying sales tax when they buy a new car. You buy a $40,000 car and that's, what, $4,000 in sales tax? They go to
You're right,
Oklahoma
you're
and
right.
probably get it
Just
for
about.
$300.
Yeah, we
It
said
ain't right.
Yeah,
To me, that's a serious crime.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We hear you,
listening to
Max.
me.
yeah.
Thank you for coming up.
Anyone else? Okay, we will now move on to regular agenda items. Our first item is public hearings, special presentations, and proclamations. Our City of Coffeyville audit report for fiscal year 2024. Neil Phillips with Jared Gilmore and Phillips will give presentation. Good evening.
Good evening. As she said, Neil Phillips from Jared Gilmore and Phillips. Can't believe the room cleared out. It's time for audit. They didn't stick around.
You thought they
All
were
right.
here for you?
That's right. I really thought they were here for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's dive past the letter that's in there and dive straight into the audit report. Page 1, 2, and 3 is the independent auditor's report. The first paragraph talking about what we audited being the city of Coffeyville as of December 31st, 2024. The second paragraph talks about the fact that you do have what they call an adverse opinion here because we do not follow GAAP. Most cities in the state of Kansas do not follow GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. Biggest difference there is we don't record our infrastructure and depreciate it out or our capital assets like a business would. We are following the Kansas cash basis and budget laws, meaning we can't spend it if we don't have it in the fund, and we can't spend it if we don't have that public approval. Third paragraph down there is the most important one. It's called an unmodified opinion on the regulatory basis of accounting. Now what you have there is what we call, the slang term would be a clean opinion on your financial statements. So based on the testing that we did, we feel like you have a materially accurate representation of what happened during the year and how you ended the year without any further modification needed. The next section talks about a basis for our opinions, meaning that we followed U.S. generally accepted auditing standards and we follow the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. Then you've got a paragraph down there at the bottom, continues on to the next page with management's responsibilities. Then you've got a section there with auditor's responsibilities. And then you're going to see the section there that talks about supplemental information. And it's going to tell you that we did audit everything except for the very last schedule in here, statement number 4, schedule number 4. It had limited procedures on it. What you're going to see there is it has insurance information on it. We don't audit the adequacy of your insurance. We leave that up to your professional insurance agent to determine your adequacy. We disclose that information for your bondholders. It's required to be in here. So we basically say that we've summarized it and we agree that with the information that's in there. All right, page number 4 and 5 is where we spend the majority of our time with all the audits that I deliver. Statement number 1 is to show users at a glance that you're in compliance with the cash basis laws of the state of Kansas. If you glance down through that 5th column over that says ending unencumbered cash, if any of those were negative, that would be a violation of Kansas statute. As you glance down through there, you can see none of your funds actually ended negative, so we were in compliance with the cash basis laws of the state of Kansas. Now, I like this statement because a lot of times, people hear that we have $60 million of unencumbered cash. Why are we not doing this or why are we not doing that? Well, this statement kind of helps define that. Like the very top line is your general fund. You can see we started the year out with $4.7 million of cash carryover. They call it unencumbered cash. We brought in cash receipts of 11.5. We spent 10.5, so actually ended the year in the general fund at $5.8 million. Then that next section, they changed the name. It's been 5-7 years ago to special purpose funds because they want those using and looking at your financial statements to understand that those funds are restricted for a purpose. Like the top one there is the library fund. We collect taxes for the library. We have to pay those taxes out to the library by statute. All of your funds listed there in the special purpose funds are restricted by statute. You even have some funds in there that you transfer monies in from other funds, but they're restricted. Once you transfer them into those funds, they're restricted by statute about how you can spend them. Then about halfway down that page, you've got your bond and interest funds. That's where you accumulate your monies to pay your bonds. And then you've got your capital project funds listed out there. Capital project funds are not statutorily required to be budgeted. Those are publicly approved by project. That's where that public approval comes into play. We have our annual budget that we go through and we have our public hearing, but then these items are actually specifically approved by project. That's a lot of times, that's why you'll see these construction guys come back with a $1,500 change order because they know by law they can't get that $1,500 additional payment unless it's been approved by commission in a public forum with each project. Then down below that is the business funds. And again, it's the same time they change those special purpose fund name, they change these to business funds because they want you as a commission and as public to understand that our utilities are treated as a business in the state of Kansas. There's actually a statute out there that says once you pay all the bills of that utility fund, you can use the profits for whatever you see fit, basically for whatever you want. But it is important that we do have cash carryover. We've got aging infrastructure, our sewer lines, water lines, those things are getting older. We've got to have monies built up to be able to do repairs, do maintenance, even to do leveraging. We go out to get a loan, to get a grant. They require some down payment or a piece to go with that, some leveraging to go with it. So it's important that we do have cash carryover when we're looking at our utility funds. But if you look at the bottom line down there, I'm looking at the middle of page 5, you can see we started the year out with $62.2 million. We had some canceled encumbrances, so some accounts payable from the prior year. We had cash receipts of $104 million. We turned around and spent $107, so actually had cash carryover of $60,019,000. Then we add back encumbrances in there because that expenditure line that's in the, or column that's in the fourth column over, it includes accounts payable and encumbrances. So we add those back in there to get to your cash balances that are then reconciled down there at the bottom of page 5 with all the different cash accounts that you have as a city. Questions about that page? Probably the most important page in the entire document because it really truly shows our health. Like you can see, our general fund increased. Even though we did have a decrease, we have increases in a lot of our other funds. So we're physically responsible with the cash collections that we had coming in the door. All right, pages 5 through, I think it's about 20 or so are the words. They call them the footnotes. It's the words to back up the numbers. Footnote number 1 is significant accounting policies. We pick up probably 95% of the audits in the state of Kansas. We're all following this regulatory basis of accounting, so you're going to see pretty much the same footnote. Talks about how we account for our money, how we account for property taxes, pension. There's a budget process laid out in there. Information that gets specific to you is on page 9. Footnote number 2 starts into information that's specific to the city of Coffeyville. The first thing we talk about is compliance with Kansas statutes. As you glance through there, you can see that we didn't have any violations of statutes that we noted while we were doing your audit. The next page continues on with your bond covenants. As you can see there that we have a required reserve set out of 4.5. You actually had 11.9 setting out there. Then we talk about your rates covenant that you have in place. And this last year, you were actually required to collect 125% of your next year's principal and interest, and you were at 141%. And that net income number is a calculated bond number. That's before capital outlay, that's before principal and interest that you pay on notes, and before transfers that you make out or into a utility fund. Bottom of that page is your deposits and investments. I always like to point this one out because this is how and where we can invest our monies. You can see we had $24.4 million out there that were actually in investments with federal agency funds and then the Kansas investment pool. And then we go ahead and disclose the rest of the information that talks about your banks. You are fully secured at year end. As you glance through that, that would be a violation of statute if you were unsecured. In the state of Kansas, we are required to go out and get securities pledged so that if a bank would fail, we'd be able to get our monies back. I'm going to have you flip over to page 13 though. Page 13 is the statement of long-term debt. Those payable numbers that were up in those unencumbered cash numbers, they don't include these payables, these long-term notes. You can see there we started the year out. I'm looking at just the total, and that's combining the revenue bonds, the water supply loans, and then your couple capital leases out there. You had $60.9 million of long-term debt as a city. This last year we paid principal down by $2.4 million, so actually ended the year with $58.5 million of long-term debt. And then the next page over spills onto 2 pages there, is the payout of that long-term debt. And you're going to see it's the next 5 years and then 5-year chunks after that because most of your city planning, your capital improvement plan, those kind of things are done in 5-year phases. And so you've got a disclosure there so you can see what payments are there and scheduled to help you plan. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to sit and read each of these footnotes to you, but I'm going to have you turn back to page 21. On page 21, they call this schedule number 1. It is to show users at a glance that we are in compliance with the with the budget laws of the state of Kansas. As you glance down through that very last column, over, under, as you glance down through there, you can see all of our funds were under our publicly approved budget. Like the very top line, our general fund had a certified budget of $14.8 million. We actually spent $10.5 million, so actually under our publicly approved budget by $4.3 million. You've got all your funds listed there that go through the public process. Then the rest of the booklet is the by fund information. This would be closer to what you're seeing on a monthly basis. Like the very top line is the general fund. We do put a prior year comparison in there for you though. You can see in 23, very top line I'm looking at, property taxes. In 23, we collected $2.1 million of property taxes. In 2024, we actually collected $2.3 million of property taxes, but we actually levied 2.6. So that $253,000 that shows up in that last column, that's your citizens that did not pay their property taxes last year. So the hope is it comes in on that next line down. Delinquent taxes, you can see in 2023 we collected 134, 2024 195. So hopefully in 2025 we get $253,000, which is those citizens that did not pay their income taxes. But as you glance through these funds, you're going to see that it follows the state format. The budgeted numbers here, Martin will take and put the actual numbers into your budget in that very first column of your state forms when you get to that approval process. Don't know that there's anything that we ought to point out. The general fund there goes for 4 pages. You can see bottom line is we had that increase in the general fund. Expenses stayed pretty consistent when you're looking year to year by fund. They're always laid out by the department, plus they're laid out by their what they call their natural category. Personnel services being payroll or any fringe benefits. I always go to commodities next because commodities are anything you can touch. Capital outlay is a one-time expenditure, and then contractual is basically everything else. That's the non-touchable items, insurance, those kind of things. Like I said, I don't know that there's any one fund we ought to point out. I might have you flip all the way back to page 51. That's skipping quite a few pages. If you do get through and you're looking at this by fund information, Martin knows where all the numbers came from. If he can't answer your question, I'll be glad to try to answer that question for you. But on page 51 and 52 is the electric fund. I just thought we might point that out. You're going to see the biggest decrease there is your Coffeyville resources. The sales were down, but then also when you look down on towards the bottom of the page 52, you can see our expenses were also down. So sales, cost of electricity, we pass that on with our charges. I just thought the electric fund was kind of interesting when you're sitting there looking at things. All right, there's a separate letter that was in your packets, unless you have questions about that real quick.
I do.
Yes, please.
Can you go to page 22?
Yes.
About a fourth of the way down. Sales tax.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't look right.
That is because management now, in the past, prior management would put all sales tax into the general fund, and then we would do transfers out of the general fund to the separate funds, like the Coffeyville, the hospital fund. Mm-hmm. We would do a transfer out of the general fund into there. Management's made the decision now to go ahead and spread that. So they've taken, and instead of putting it in the general fund first and then having that budgeted transfer, we've put it directly into the hospital fund. So that's why that big decrease there looks kind of funny. I actually had that exact same question when I was reviewing your audit before I came. As I started looking into that, I was like, that doesn't look right.
So should the budget number change?
We did not rebudget because at that point in time when you published your 24 budget, which would have been back in 23, you were still following the old process. You've basically changed your process a little bit there. It does not matter by statute of how you do it. It's really an internal management thing. The prior management liked to see that $6 million coming into the general fund so that we could have one lump sum number to see sales tax. Where now, if you truly want to know how much sales tax the city's getting, you're probably going to have to go a couple pages to add up the different funds to get the sales tax number for the total for the city. So really not a big deal in the accounting world, but like you said, it does make it look a little bit different in this first year because that is that change that was made.
And if you recall, that's kind of the transparency we were looking for, to show people that the actual sales tax dollars coming in were going out on the items they were supposed to, versus kind of this intermingled within the general fund.
That way its exact dollars went to that fund. All right, there was a separate letter that was in your packets. We call this the presentation letter. Should have been, there was a rubber band around some of them. I got a blank look from somebody. All right, we'll make sure that you get a copy of that somehow.
Look for me.
All right, I'll just talk about it.
Okay.
It is what we call our presentation letter. In the past, if we had any disagreements with management, problems encountered, or we had to consult somebody outside accountants because you're doing something crazy with your records, we would have orally came to talk to you. Well, we get legal involved. We now have to put it in writing to you to say, we didn't have any disagreements with management. We had no problems encountered during your audit. We didn't have to consult outside accountants. I'm making light of that letter because it's boilerplate, but it is called a letter to those charged with governance. So when you do get a copy of it, I would make sure you do read through it. It's got a couple of good pages of information there. It's got the adjustments that were booked, and it's also got what they call the management representation letter attached to it. And that's the representations that's made between management and the auditors. Used to be made between the auditors and management. We're just now required to give you a copy of it so you can see those representations. Again, it's pretty boilerplate. It says there was no material lawsuits. There's no conflicts of interest. There's no violations of laws and regulations. Basically, it's really kind of boilerplate, but it is required that we give you a copy of it. Again, I'm making light of it. That management rep letter is like 4 pages long. So there's a lot of information in there. Again, I'm making light of it because it's boilerplate, because we didn't have those kind of exceptions that needed to be talked about, but it is required we give you a copy of that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So it condenses 67 pages down to 4?
Down to 4 to say there was no issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming this evening.
No problem.
And presenting this all to us. It's very well laid out, as always. Breaks down a lot of things.
There's a lot of information in there, and I went through it pretty quick, so if you do have questions, I'd always be
Yes,
glad to
yeah,
answer them at
okay.
any point in time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we'll have a public hearing to consider authorizing submission of a 2025 Kansas Small Cities Community Development Block Grant application for commercial rehabilitation of the Midland Theater. Amber Dean, Director of Community Development, will make comments. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. So we're here tonight to get permission to submit a CDBG grant for the Midland. They have a project for their auditorium and some fire egress and important code updates. It's a $250,000 application. We're submitting it on behalf of the Midland Foundation, and they will be putting up the match. We also have people from the board here that can stand up and speak in support of it. If you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer, or they can help answer.
Okay, all right. Jim, do you want to get up and speak? Say anything? Yay. They actually told me to ask you.
Daryl didn't want to. I'm Jim Criswell. I'm the Vice President of the Midland Theater Foundation. And this grant would help with some necessary infrastructure in the auditorium, which is our last phase to complete and open the Midland Theater. Specifically, we would be replacing outdated electrical panel in the backstage, replacing old outdated and non-code required wiring throughout the auditorium and stage, new electrical gear for the HVAC system, new egress lighting, exit signs, emergency power, extend the fire alarm system to the auditorium, relocate a data rack to our basement below the stage, and it would be providing new power for the theater equipment. Some of these we don't have final costs for, but this grant would severely help some of those infrastructure items that we're going to need once we get the theater completed and get the auditorium under construction.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I will now open the public hearing to receive comments regarding the submission of a 2025 Kansas Small Cities Community Development Block Grant application for commercial rehabilitation of the Midland Theater. Any comments? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Okay, and then now, Resolution R-25-83, a resolution certifying legal authority to apply for the 2025 Kansas Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program from the Kansas Department of Commerce and authorizing the mayor to sign and submit such an application.
So this is a resolution to give us permission to submit the application. Pretty straightforward.
Yes, yes, it is. Well, I think it's good, and I'm glad we're partnering with the Midland Theater Foundation, and, you know, as we try to help them, but, you know, some other times others in your grant writing. If you haven't been to the Midland Theater, you guys have done a very good job. And you've come so far, and it's exciting to see you at your last component. And I don't mean to speak on your behalf, but I am sure, I'm pretty confident that if anybody has not been in there, they could get a hold of one of the board members and they would take them in and just look and see for yourself what all has been done and why they're doing the things they're doing, while this is this is going to be submitted and hopefully approved, and some of their other fundraising efforts. They just had their vaudeville Saturday night, and it was wonderful. And that's approaching 10 years next year for that? Yeah. Okay, and that's wonderful. So I totally support this, and I am so glad that we are, Amber, that you're able to do this to help them out. I think it's wonderful. So I will move to approve Resolution R-25-83 as presented.
And given the fact that I was riding my bicycle on Saturday mornings to the Midland Theater when most of the commissioners here were still in diapers, I second the motion.
Can we see that accounting?
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-83 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I have a question. One comment is, when you were doing that, I wasn't born yet. But the other is,
Then we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Midland Theater, you have tax credits you're selling still? You had a few left. I don't know if you wanted to explain that in case anybody.
So if you come up here, Denise.
Denise York, 605 Highland, treasurer for the Midland Theater. And yes, we do have tax credits there for the Kansas state tax, so if you have a obligation to pay, you can make a donation to the Midland Theater. I'm just going to throw out numbers here. So if you make a $1,000 donation to the Midland Theater, you will receive 70% or $700 worth of tax credits that you can apply for your income tax, your liability. So.
And again, get a hold of you for that kind of thing,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Any of the board members can help you out. The least amount that you can donate is for $250, which would give you $175.
Sounds good.
Yeah, tax credits. So, and they're only we're just selling them through the end of 2025, so it'll be good on the 2025 taxes.
Is it a time thing or is there a limit? There's so much left? Or is this unlimited?
It's limited. We're down to, I think, around $75,000 left of allotment to give out, and the state keeps checking it. If we're not selling them, they can take some back and give it to somebody else who is selling them. So.
Okay. Well, let's
So we're trying to get them
You get 'em
all
all.
emptied out, yeah.
Okay.
How many can we put you down for?
Yeah,
I'll
if
get
you
with
ha-
you later.
If you have a business or, individual, anybody that has to pay Kansas state tax can make that donation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank,
Explain that.
No.
thank you, Commander.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Okay, now, Resolution R-25-84, a resolution to declare a building blighted with respect to the Kansas Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program.
So in order for the Midland to qualify to apply for this grant, we have to blight the Midland. It's one of the threshold requirements. It just makes them qualify. It's one of those things.
What happened?
They're saying help.
What's going on?
Okay.
They took care of. Okay, crisis averted. I know. All right.
Okay, Amber.
Yeah, when Amber gets back, we will continue with. I know. We are ready to help. That's our job.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Amber gets back, we'll find out why we're blighting the Midland.
For safety issues.
Amber was helping a lady find the elevator. She was right.
Oh. So shall I move on?
Code issues that we've got going on.
Yeah, we can go into the staff report there, but essentially this is a requirement of the CDBG grant to go through and do. So it sounds weird, it's a problem, but
Okay.
But if that's what we have to
Something
do.
yeah.
Okay, then I will move to approve Resolution R-25-84 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve Resolution R-25-84 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Okay, now, moving on to new business.
Thanks.
Thank you. Resolution R-25-85, a resolution to authorize a grant in favor of Southeast Kansas Community Action Program to support the Montgomery County General Transportation Initiative. City Clerk Melissa Carter will make comments, and Casey Brown with CCAP will be in attendance. Good evening.
I'm not Casey Brown.
Okay, well, welcome anyway.
I'm Casey's boss, but
I think Casey's coming in right now.
Okay.
Mayor and Commissioners, the Southeast Kansas Community Action Program has requested funds for their General Transportation Initiative for the fiscal...
one man I know.
There you go.
Can I talk now?
You get one.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay, I'll start over. Mayor and Commissioners, the Southeast Kansas Community Action Program has requested funds for their General Transportation Initiative for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027. This would help provide general transportation 5 days a week at no expense to the rider for 1 year, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. The Southeast Kansas Community Action Program, or CCAP, has been providing general public transportation throughout Southeast Kansas for over 40 years. Many residents benefit from public transportation to access rides to places of education, employment, medical appointments, grocery and retail stores, and restaurants. CCAP has had access to a program to provide increased transportation services to the residents of Montgomery County, with 70% of the program costs covered through federal and state grant programs. The grant program requires a local match of 30%, which for this year will be $40,000. The City of Coffeyville awarded a grant of $3,000 in April of 2024 for the first year of the transportation program. Initially, the program was going to run 3 days a week, but through donations, CCAP was able to offer the transportation services 5 days a week. With the increased number of service days and data showing the frequency in which residents of Coffeyville utilize the service, the donation amount was increased to $5,000 for July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. Data continues to show that Coffeyville residents use this service frequently, and staff is recommending a donation in the amount of $5,000 for the July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. And this is Casey Brown with the CCAP, and he would be able to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yes. Good evening. So it's going well?
It is. In front of you, Jamie brought a packet up that's got, that second page has a breakdown of what some of our ridership across the county looks like. Coffeyville makes up almost 70% of our ridership on a regular basis, and it continues to grow. The statistics in front of you are only through the end of March. Whole lot of education. We've got a couple of kiddos that mom and dad call and ride to the school and ride to pick them up. So lot of grocery and education, and then of course our medical transportation. We get a lot of visits to Regional Medical Center and a few others, clinics around the area. Predominantly Coffeyville and Independence are our biggest two locations.
Okay.
Excited to keep this going, and to help with some of the offset costs, we know that the costs are continuing to increase. We've started a new project, and actually you guys down here with the MOGAs got to be our test subjects. Our original crew that put it together with some private funds in coordination with the LHEAT, we're actually going to have the original founders on the back of the bus, so the logos, so your city will be there as well.
Okay.
And then we're going to team up with the local businesses around the community to actually advertise their businesses on the windows of the vehicle. KDOT allowed us to do that. So excited to be here, excited to keep it going, and wanted to see if you guys would be willing to A, support us financially again with the $5,000, and B, if you would be willing to sign a letter of support so we can send it in with the grant for the other 70%.
I think this is wonderful. I remember when it started, and we did the 3,000 to see how everything would go, and then of course it was a no-brainer after to increase it to 5. And as Coffeyville, I'm just curious, have we always been the majority?
No, actually, you and Independence have shared it.
Okay.
So right now, I was going to say.
So it's about
Yep.
equality.
Right
Okay.
now, I think where we're at with the city, the county, and you guys has been 5,000 apiece, and we came up to
Okay.
15.
But excuse me, I mean the usage, excuse me.
Yes.
The percent. We're like
Histo-
69% that
Yes.
you have here?
Historically,
And the
for
others?
ridership, yes.
Okay. So
Because it
that's-
actually stays here in Coffeyville. I don't think it's called Hannah's House anymore. I'm going to show my age a little bit.
Okay.
But our riders,
Yeah, yeah.
they've allowed us to park it there, and our drivers here, so yeah.
Okay.
So question about the education, is that they are riding the bus to school because the USD 445 bus won't pick them up? I'm just curious.
I couldn't honestly answer that, because we do follow the general public rules. It's first come, first serve on requests. So we don't even follow that one up. If we can give the ride,
I was
we'll
just
give the
curious.
ride.
I didn't know if that
I
was.
know there's a radius. of
There's a
where they
radius that the
Yeah.
school
They
bus
just
won't.
can't. They just don't.
Yeah.
And, so yeah.
I
a
thought maybe
few
they
others
lived inside that radius that the school bus doesn't pick them
Pick up. Yeah, there's an inside and an outside radius too.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
just curious. No, it's
Yep,
good.
I
I'm glad
don't
you
know
do
that
it.
rider well enough to
You know
tell
what?
you.
I think
Get
that's
them to
great.
school, I think that's fabulous. I was just curious as to how that worked.
I think that part of that was initially, I'm sorry, I'm Jamie Whitney with CCAP. CEO. Part of that was, I think the parent was riding with the child
Oh,
on
okay.
general public. So,
Okay.
because we do have restrictions on allowing children to ride that bus alone and
Okay.
not be with the adults. So,
Sure. Okay.
And it was something, it was the father actually that was taking the child to and from school. So,
Okay.
and I don't know why it was important to him, but he continued to do it and kept that going, so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what?
Because it is important.
The children are going to school, so
Right.
that's perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I'll move to approve Resolution R-25-85
I'll second.
as presented.
Motion is made by Commissioner Faulkner, second by Mayor Maples, to approve Resolution R-25-85 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for all the information and,
Yeah.
We'll be back in a few months and bring you some updates as we
Okay,
get
good.
more
Thank you.
information, more data.
thank you.
Okay, now, action to approve a time extension for the Kansas Department of Commerce for Community Development Block Grant Project 23 PF020 Multi-Use Trail Project. Executive Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The city is in the final stages of completing the multi-use trail project funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program. However, along Woodland and also Buckeye, we have decided that we need to add some guardrail there at the intersection on Woodland and Buckeye. So we're applying for, with your approval, we're going to apply for a 4-month extension to allow the engineers to design this and the contractors to install that.
So this is beyond the handrail that appears that's already there on
It'd be on
Woodland,
the other side of the.
This would be,
on the other side of
On
the
the
site.
outside, like by the side, by the street.
Okay.
this
Between,
would be between the walkway and the
the
travel way
street.
on the
see,
vehicle.
Got it.
that would keep the traffic
People in-
Got
out.
it. Got it.
And I think that's a fabulous idea. I like that.
Yes, I do too. If there's no further discussion, I will move to approve a time extension from the Kansas Department of Commerce for the Community Development Block Grant Project number 23 PF020.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner, to approve a time extension from the Kansas Department of Commerce for the Community Development Block Grant Project 23-PF-020. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Okay. Now we
Mayor.
have resolution.
Just may point out, I think our guest was coming to speak in citizen comments and just had a difficult time getting up
Okay,
here.
absolutely.
We might,
Yeah.
Sure.
versus waiting.
Come on up. Welcome.
Hello, my name's Kathy Scott, and I know him. I've seen him before, but some of the rest of you I don't. But I'm 78 years old, and I dropped my phone in the bathtub the other day, and my phone said emergency call. So I let it dry out all night. I put it in a bag of rice and I let it dry out. Next morning it told me I didn't have a SIM card. Well, now, I ain't got no car. If I fall, I can't get up. I don't care where I fall at. I fell the other night out on my driveway. And I just laid there. And then my ex-husband, he called me. He said, "What are you doing?" I was supposed to be going to get him. Because he was going to use the car, because he used my car most of the time. Well, I waited and waited. I said, what am I going to do? Didn't nobody come by. And you know, usually the police be sitting across the street from my house at the park right there. Didn't none of them come by. I watched, didn't none of them drive by, nothing. And so I said, I'm going to call this emergency thing. I said, I can have them send a policeman over here. Well, when I called her, she says, yeah, emergency, whatever she said. And I says, I have an emergency. I need a SIM card. She said, a SIM card? A SIM card ain't no emergency. Well, when you're 78 years old and you can't walk nowhere, you can't call nobody, can't do nothing, it is emergency. Because I wanted to get my son, because I know he'd come and go to Walmart and get me a SIM card. Well, I just kept waiting. Finally, I went on Facebook. I put help. I thought sure somebody'd come and help me. Even my kin people, they putting on there, hey Kathy, is you all right? If I'm saying help, do you think I'm all right? When you get 78 years old, help means help. I don't care who it is, come and help me. So even the mail lady, she came by later on. She tried to do something with my phone. She said, I don't know what to do. And so we tried to call my son. He didn't answer. He don't know her name. And you know her number. If a number comes up and he don't know it, because he got a name in his phone for everybody that he answers. So he didn't answer. She called 3 or 4 times. He didn't answer. I says, if you see a policeman anywhere, will you please tell him to come here? I said, because they all know me. I said, and I know they'll come and help me. No policeman, nothing, never happened. Next day, here come my son running around the corner. Mama, is you all right? They just called and told me I like to had a heart attack yesterday, and I was in the bed all day. Well, you know what? I want everybody to know that when somebody says it's an emergency, and if they owe, remember, it's an emergency. And whoever this lady is, I'm not trying to get her fired or anything, because I love her, but teach her that emergency means emergency. Not to make calls or anything, just send the police. That's all I was asking. Because I don't want to call ambulance and stuff. That's $500-600, you know? And I don't have that kind of money. But I'm just asking you to train her different. When somebody says emergency, ask them, are you handicapped? And if they are, they need help. And she told me police was too busy. They ain't never too busy to come and help nobody. And I know that for a fact, because I've called them before. But I could call the police then. I couldn't call the police the other day. All I could do was call emergency. And I appreciate y'all listening to me. And I just say, just train her a little bit better. Because when you get old, honey, it's bad to have no phone, no car, no nothing. And you just stuck in the house just like I don't know what. But I thank y'all for listening to me. And I got something to talk to you about too. Okay. I'm telling you. But yeah, because I always got something to talk to somebody about. Anyway. But my kids said, Mama, don't go up there. Don't. I said, yeah, I'm going. Because it ain't just about me. Because there's a lot of old people in this town. And see, if they need help, all the time they don't want to call an ambulance because they don't have the money to pay. You know? But they still need help. And if you can just call a policeman, tell him to go and check on her for wellness, you know, make sure she's all right. So I'm through talking now. But I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
yes, we can do better.
Well, that's what I said. I said, I know they can do better than this, you know? Because I wouldn't have called if it wasn't a man. Because ain't like I didn't pay my phone bill. I paid my phone bill. But I dropped it in the bathtub. But then if y'all drop y'all's phone, put it in some rice all night, and it'll dry it out. But then the SIM card may not be no good. But thank you anyway.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right. Aren't you an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I knew that's what I seen you. I don't remember your name, but I remember your face.
Now we have Resolution R-25-86, a resolution to accept the Kansas Department of Transportation fiscal year 2028 Highway Safety Improvement Plan grant for the 8th Street and Buckeye intersection. Executive Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
The intersection of 8th and Buckeye has several obstructions right at the intersection. This project would redesign the intersection line for traffic to safely pass the obstruction and not be entering the cross traffic. Currently, there's a traffic signal at this intersection, and the cost associated with that is not included. KDOT will perform a traffic engineering study. If a traffic signal is warranted through their study, funding will be provided and an updated acceptance letter will be issued.
Can you explain a little further? What is the, I'm looking at the map. What are
Okay.
the obstructions you're talking about?
The buildings,
The buildings, okay.
yeah, right there on the northwest side.
That one that's right there on the corner?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
if you stop back this way, the crosswalk, you can't see past that. So this would narrow up 8th Street just a little with those islands on either side, because currently it's back of curb to back of curb, it's 50-plus feet. So if we narrow that up to 30 feet,
So you're basically saying somebody will pull out a little further
So
in
they
there
can
to
see
see cross traffic.
without
That's
getting into
really
the
the,
traffic,
the
yes.
intent.
correct.
And you would get rid of.
You
well, I
would get
guess-
rid of anything you'd add. All
Yeah,
of-
they're
all of
adding,
that's
but
addition.
I see that. But what I'm saying is they will no longer be able to park on the north side of 8th Street going west. Are you going to take that out too? I mean, because that would block the view. The intention of what you're trying to do.
Well, it would be further away from the intersection. The bubble islands that would be there would narrow things
Yeah.
up. That would
I mean,
push,
west of that.
that would push the traffic, that would park
Right.
a little bit further
You could
west.
still park there, but further back.
Well, I'm saying maybe you don't.
Well, maybe you need to, because they need the parking. Because sometimes Ace can be a big
Sometimes.
place.
No, not
whoever's
Ace. Not Ace,
a
the
part
other.
No, but across the way.
On the-
They park there at the old,
On the
what
west
used to be
side.
the Holly House or whatever. There are people still do, whatever, but they will park there. I will see
Yes.
that.
That's fine, because that's not obstructing view. I know what you're talking about on that northwest corner. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Okay, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-86 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-86 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Okay, Resolution R-25-87, a resolution to approve a construction contract with A-Lert Roof Systems for 3 roof replacements. Hillcrest Pro Shop, South Airport Hangar, and the raw water pump house at Water Treatment Plant. Jim Wright will make comments.
The city of Coffeyville has several buildings with failing roofs that need to be replaced. 3 of the worst are included in this combined roof replacement proposal. The pricing requested replacement for the following roofs was a golf course pro shop for $95,435, the water treatment raw water pump house at $51,930, and the airport hangar, which they call the paint shop, which would be the hangar just north of the office and main hangar there at the airport. All roofs come with a 20-year watertight material and workmanship warranty. By awarding this combined project, A-Lert is given a discount of $7,400. It'd be our recommendation to award this to A-Lert.
When will they start?
Don't have that information.
Okay.
We're hoping before the end of the year, it'd be nice to
Okay.
have that done, but
So reasonable.
we'll have to
Yep.
get on their schedule first.
Sure.
Are the existing roofs leaking, or are we just getting ahead of it?
Yes, they're all leaking. I know the golf course pro shop is been leaking for years. I know it's a safety hazard right now because when it does rain, the lights short out and they don't have lights in the building. I know the hangar has a hole in the roof and it leaks currently. The raw water pump building, I know it leaks currently now. It's a flat concrete roof with a membrane over the top. So it will be replaced with a shed roof that will drain back to the river. The golf course has a flat roof on it right now. This will be a standing seam roof with a 412 pitch put on it. And then the hangar is Alerts, that's kind of their specialty across the state of Kansas. They have Greenbush pricing, which is through Greenbush, but it's more state pricing. So they do a lot of hangars across the state of Kansas.
Well, looking at this from a risk management standpoint, going to the second level, has the leaking caused secondary issues that we're going to have to deal with? You already mentioned shorting out of electrical wiring. Are there other issues that have already been identified?
Well, the ceiling will have to be removed, and hopefully we can take the ceiling completely out and expose the old wood that was the ceiling back in the day in the clubhouse. So there may be some wood that'd be damaged or have to be redone. The electrical system will have to be redone in the ceiling with the lights, and they have new lights, or they need new lights, but we can't put those in with the roof leaking and everything shorting out.
So is that part of this RFI, or will
be
be
the
additional funding required?
This would be the roof only
Okay.
right now. So the rewiring and putting new lights in, that is on its own.
All right, so there will be additional funding required downstream.
You are correct.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-25-87 as presented.
I'll
Se-
second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Hendricks, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-87 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
You can
Okay.
expect at least one more roof coming fairly quickly that
Okay.
didn't get tied into this project.
That's good, though, getting this done. I appreciate it. All right, ordinance S-25-07, an ordinance to vacate an easement within the city of Coffeyville, Kansas at Patterson Square. Executive Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
The city received a request to vacate a public easement through Patterson Square in order to facilitate the future development of the site. City staff has reviewed the request and determined the easement is no longer necessary for public access, utility routing, the exception of a 7x7 utility easement being retained. That is, I believe it appears the utility easement went right through several of the buildings they had there, and the part they're retaining is on the far south side. It's a 7x7 piece of land there.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
All right. I'll move to approve first reading of ordinance S-25-07 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Hendricks, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve the first reading of ordinance S-25-07 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, now, an ordinance amending the model zoning ordinance of the city of Coffeyville to add definitions and regulations for tiny homes and establishing a tiny home overlay district. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
And I did just want to jump in real quick, just to remind commissioners, this is already, I think, on your paperwork, so this is for discussion, questions. We're going to go over the process. Don't intend to pass an ordinance as first reading. We also don't need to, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, so there's just no action taken in this either way. It's just for discussion purposes.
Okay.
And if staff needs to come back with any other specifics for you or for future conversations.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so over the past, I'd say 8 weeks and probably longer, we've had a lot of people coming in asking if we can do tiny homes in Coffeyville. Our planning and zoning model ordinance, it doesn't allow it. So we've been working with planning and zoning to develop this ordinance. It's gone to them twice for approval. Minimum square footage is 400 square feet. I've had questions about, well, what's the maximum? If you're in R1, once you reach the minimum for R1, 1,100 square foot, you're at a standard size house. So that's when you reach your maximum of a tiny home. A couple key things about this ordinance. We require you to submit an application that has blueprints and the design aesthetics of the exterior. Your design aesthetics have to match the neighborhood you're putting it in. We're not making it difficult, but we want to make it where you're not putting in a shed or a trailer or a container house in these neighborhoods. The reason we did the overlay district is to prevent tiny homes going in these nicer, newer neighborhoods to keep the general aesthetic. We require it to be on a foundation, a permanent foundation. It can be built on-site or off-site, but it has to have code documentation. It has to meet the standard lot setbacks and all of those requirements. It can't be on wheels. Like I said, it can't be a shed, a garage, a container. So like these sheds down on the corner, you can't buy one of those and go, this is my tiny house. So that's what we're trying to prevent with it. We've had questions about can they put more than 2 on a lot? If you're in R2 or R4, you can have 2, no more than that. You won't be able to split the lot, so if you put 2 tiny houses on it, that's it forever. You cannot split those lots. And it requires a sewer and water tap, a single one, for both tiny homes. Separate electrics allowed. And then questions?
Parking.
Parking. Standard parking like a normal driveway, you would have a driveway.
What kind of, covered parking?
It doesn't require, it'd be just like a standard home. You're not required to have covered parking on a standard home.
All right. But someone could, if they had a tiny home, they could put a carport up. Would that require action with the planning and zoning?
They would have to get a permit for a carport.
Okay.
And have approval and meet the required setbacks and everything. Yes.
All right, thank you.
So I'm just thinking, his comment made me think of something. So then if there were 2 tiny homes on a lot, would you have 2 driveways?
If the lot would allow it, yes, or it could have rear access from the alley.
Okay, okay.
Well, with 2 owners, I think you'd have to resurvey and split the lot. And
But we're not gonna
could you
split
do
lots.
that? But you,
It's not gonna be 2, like if you
couldn't.
put a tiny home, they're gonna be rentals, obviously.
Yeah. You can't do,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
well, when I saw this, I had a lot of thoughts going through my head on the what ifs, like you have already.
Yep, we had a
And
lot of what ifs.
I'm not just thinking about the first owner, I'm thinking about the second, third owner, or if it's a rental, or renter decides to, and I thought it would probably be a rental, what if renter decides to sell it to owners, and then it becomes not a rental anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, the rental owner, the owner.
Landlord.
That's
The
right,
owner,
landlord,
landlord
sells it to an owner, no longer becomes a rental, but a owner occupied house. And then it goes to that way, and then the next time that person wants to sell it, it maybe doesn't, and it sits there unoccupied and unused, and then it reverts back to us, meaning in my head, who wants a 400 square foot house later? We're
Right now,
talking
there's
second, third
People are
owner.
begging for them.
Right now, we have a lot of people asking
They're
for it.
begging for these
Yeah.
little houses.
Yeah.
And
Believe it or not, a lot
to me,
of people want them.
400 square foot is really small, really small.
Standard is 400 maximum for tiny homes.
Yeah.
And we just made it our minimum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mostly agree with the map, but not totally.
Okay.
There's some areas in West Coffeyville that I would probably pink out as well.
I
But-
welcome all of you to come
Yeah.
in. I have a giant map on my wall that we can write on and adjust as needed.
Okay. So this was discussion only,
Yep.
and then, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and-
I get that, yes.
Just wanted to go through that process as well. This is Planning and Zoning Commission. This went before them. I believe there was a split. It was 5-2?
It was 5-2.
Or 5-1-1, I guess. We had
We had
five
one absent.
five that said yes, one that said no, and then one that was not present. So really, I think what we're hearing in the feedback, and even within that, is location in town. And so that'd be great. We can either add that something to a work session and go through and bring in maps, or you can reach out to Amber Eye, and we'd love to come in and get further feedback to make sure that we're really honing in on the correct areas of town.
And another thought that came to mind that you just hit on is you talked about 2 per lot. And I thought about that as being a possibility. And then it led me to think how you orient the 2 on a lot. Or would we require that they be side by side facing the street? Or could somebody come in and go, no, I want one in the front and one behind it, and they would have to access by the alley?
I would say it depends on the lot size and the setback requirements of where they're putting it.
So I'm thinking, would you allow that, or would you just say, we're not going to allow that, they have to be side by side, both facing the street, access to the street?
I think we could allow it with access from the alley.
That's something to think about.
It's back to
Then you'd have to
the
maintain the
application
alley.
of the setbacks is the remainder of the ordinance and what's allowed within this. So this is just giving the allowable of a square footage side. Everything else is going to be dependent upon the current planning and zoning. So your setbacks, your rules, especially if you have a small lot and are putting them front and back allowable within the space. So I think there's some application that applies
That's right.
to your
Again,
original
More things to
ordinance.
think about.
Yeah.
You said the minimum is 400?
Yes.
And the maximum would be,
It all depends on what zone you're in. So say you're in R1, the minimum R1, like single-family residence, is 1,100 square foot. So once you reach that square footage, you're converted into a standard size home.
okay, so 800 square feet would qualify?
If you're in R1, yeah, that would qualify as a tiny home.
That's not a tiny home. The home currently occupied by my wife and I, as originally built by my dad in 1937, was a little over 800 square feet. And that was a two-bedroom, mom, dad, 2 boys. I mean, we considered it a pretty good sized house for that neighborhood.
So standard definition is maximum 400 square foot, but we've had pushback on why are we setting that maximum at 400? Why don't we allow 700 square foot? Why don't we allow 800 square foot if that's what they want to build? So that's why we did the minimum at 400 and didn't set a maximum, because you reach that once you're.
There's a lot of houses now in town that are
You know,
between 8 and
that's a pretty good
100 and
size,
1,000.
So
pretty
our-
good size home.
Our ordinance set the minimum currently at,
Depending on the zone. We have a few zones that allow 800 square foot. We have 1,100 square foot. So it really depends on what
so
zone you're in.
what this is doing is depending on that zone. So if that zone is up to 1,100, that was the most. So we're now saying 400 up to that 11, or if it was 800, 400 up to. So we're addressing an area that was not addressed based on size for each different zone.
Yeah, I'm just saying, once you approach those size of square footage, it's, to my way of thinking, that no longer, you're not talking about a tiny home anymore. You're talking about a standard size home in much of the residential area throughout Coffeyville. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, as you explained, there's zones already with a minimum of 800, and that explains why there's a lot of homes
Yeah.
between 800 and 1,000 square feet in town.
Well, I think it's needed because there are so many people that are wanting these now. And they could be done very well and be nice homes. So I think we need to keep moving forward with this and work out the details. And
Yeah, it could
So
work
are
in the
you-
right areas.
do you have people that are asking to build several? Is that Or do you have people individually asking to build their own? How?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Majority individual wanting to build their own.
Okay.
We have multiple people waiting for this to pass so they can get started.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have a lot of people interested in it, and
Okay. Nice.
It's good.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
And Ben, you mentioned work session, and when would that be?
I think we're planning on the next one to talk about water rates. Another thing that escapes me, we could try to add those in, so mid to end of September.
Okay,
I think we'd prefer, because we have people on the list, to have commissioners reach out and answer any final questions so we can get going, because we don't want to keep people who want to build, even if it is
Yeah,
building
let's-
No, I
small.
want to get it going as quick as
So I'm
we
gonna,
can.
I'm
let's
gonna
not
ask-
delay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Amber to reach out individually on some of the questions that we've heard. If you have a question on the size or the locations, so we can finalize that and hopefully get this on the next meeting.
All right.
Well, the thing is, if you've got some locations we know, let's go with it. I think that's fantastic. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, now, ordinance G-25-04, an ordinance regulating abandoned commercial buildings and vacant commercial buildings requiring registration and maintenance. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
So we did a count today, and we verified that count. We did a count Monday and verified the count today. We have over 100 vacant commercial buildings in Coffeyville. It's an issue. It's not just an issue for Coffeyville. It's an issue for multiple cities across Kansas and other states as well. This was brought up a few months ago. What can we do about it? So we reached out to a few other cities, Parsons, Independence, City of Council Grove. They have the vacant building registry, and it requires that if you have a vacant or abandoned building, you have to register it and you have to pay a fee. And there's a definition of what a vacant or abandoned building is. If it's vacant for more than 6 months, that's makes you vacant. You would have to get on the registration, fill out a form, pay $500 a year. And every year it goes, it increases $500. So the second year you're at $1,000. The third year you're at $1,500. The reason we did that is we took it to planning and zoning. They were like, we want more teeth. We want to make these people do something about these vacant buildings. There's an out. So if we have people who are actively rehabilitating a property or selling it or actively marketing it, they won't have to pay the fee. They won't have to register. This is to address the people who are not doing anything and are letting these buildings decay, and hopefully it will prevent us from having to come in and tear them down at a later date.
Commissioners, we've consulted several people on this as well. Of course, you know, the commission, since I've been here, has pushed code enforcement violations, so this isn't separate from those. They still need to work hand in hand. So even if you have a vacant building and it is registered, we can still come up through code violations for broken windows and public safety things, nuisances. So that doesn't change or go away. When Don was here as a commission, he had shared some of these ideas as well. There's other cities out there. So we've been doing our history and our work. Spoke with Representative Bryce about this as well, just from a state perspective, to help him understand what we're doing. Initially, we thought maybe we would be, there's only a few cities, but the more we look, the more there are. Now, some don't have a lot of teeth to them, and they just kind of sit there, and they've passed it and haven't done anything. And so we've been very specific on that fee to encourage. Now, there's an argument out there on property rights, and that's absolutely true. I believe strongly in property rights. But when you live in a city, you have a mutual agreement, if you will, with other properties around you, especially those who are connected to you. So we have property owners downtown trying to sell buildings, and the building that's next to them is vacant and is dilapidated, and they share a stairwell and it's leaking in. And so when owners are doing nothing, it's causing problems. Now, I think Paul could probably speak to this better, on level of violations that you're looking at from a code issue or moving into a registry. But we do this for grass to everyone because people don't want to look at that. We do this for these properties that have garbage throughout them. And so we already have so many appropriate regulations to manage a relationship for people that want to live in a town and the expectation that that community has. So we don't have this on these 100-plus buildings. Again, we want to work with those who might be struggling. This is not trying to punish those who are trying to do something. This is trying to enforce standards and make people pay attention. We have folks that are in California and other states who are completely ignoring these buildings and reaping benefits from tax rewards. And so when you now have to assess these fees through a registry, it brings those people back to the table, back to engage in the community that they've invested in and kind of ignored. Those who are here, those who are actively working, that is not the intention. Now, this also went before Planning and Commission, is that correct?
Yes, it went before them twice.
Can you talk a little bit about those conversations and discussions and what changed?
So whenever we first took it to them, the fees were very light. It was $200 a year, and it didn't increase or anything. They wanted to have more teeth. They actually wanted us to assess it every 6 months because they're tired of seeing the vacant buildings and seeing things crumble and the city paying for tearing down vacant commercial buildings. We have a few downtown that we're addressing right now. They really wanted the teeth to be in this to get the properties moving. Not just rehab, but at least get them up on the market to be sold. We have people that inquire about buildings all the time, and we're like, you have to reach out to the property owner. They're not doing anything with it. We can't force them to sell it, but maybe we can help nudge them along.
Of those over 100 structures that we have, how many of those are downtown?
22.
22.
22 downtown.
Okay.
Well, Amber, I've read through all of the material and the documentation you provided with this. I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and my only comment is, why did it take so long? We've needed this for a while. Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate
this
This
is good.
Yep.
And so they register their building and they have to be actively rehabbing it?
They have to turn in, if they're registering their building,
Okay.
they have to turn in a rehab plan with a timeline and a scope of work.
Okay,
If they're selling it, they have to have a active, working with a licensed realtor to
Realtor.
sell it.
okay,
And then if it's for rent, it has to be in a newspaper, online, like actively trying to rent it. They can't just slap a sign up and say it's for rent.
and then let it fall down.
Okay, question. If you have a rehab building now that's ready to be sold and used, and it's on the market currently, and it's active with a realtor, what will happen to them? They have to register that and pay the $500?
Nope, they would not be required to register it because they're doing the steps to
Okay.
avoid that registration.
As long as
So
they're
we'll send
active.
out, like 20 days, we'll send out a letter that says, hey, we have this new ordinance, you need to be registered, and give them an opportunity to come in and go, wait, I'm working on it, or it's actively for sale, or whatever it may be. They'll have a chance to not
Okay.
be
And I'm thinking
forced
of
to go
some
on it.
buildings that are actively being rehabbed as we speak.
Yeah,
And the people are working.
they would just have to turn in a plan
And
to
Okay.
show that
But they
they're
wouldn't have to
actively
pay the
doing it.
$500? Okay.
And then we have,
what do you consider actively?
they have to have a timeline on when it's going to be completed.
Okay.
That works.
So they can't just come in and go, I'm
Okay,
working on it.
I just wanted to make sure.
They have to
Yeah,
have a
because I'm
timeline that
working on it
says,
could be, that's very,
Yeah, I've been there last week and now I'm not going to come back for 2 or 3 months or 6 months or whatever.
yeah, they
So-
have to have a timeline.
And it can't be a 20-year timeline?
Can't be a 20-year
No.
timeline.
Okay.
Can you discuss storage and how this works within it?
So obviously if it's zoned a warehouse or zoned for storage, we can't do anything about it. But if it is in our downtown district or any other building that's not zoned and it's storage, that's not a business if it's not zoned correctly.
Okay.
So that's not allowed. They can't go, oh, well, I'm using this for storage. That's not allowed in this commercial use space.
Okay.
You
Downtown
can't
is
go.
not to be a storage place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
And I want to, point out folks that we've talked to. I've brought this up with Jim Taylor and talking about it. He has a building and it would fall in some of these categories. And asking him his thoughts on passing an ordinance like this, he said, no, you're right to do it. And same thing, it's about time. We need to do something in here. So that's someone who is active in the community and has a business, but's falling in that category. And and I can't speak for him. I don't want to say officially he could come in here and disagree now, but we've had conversations and there were positive direction on the city trying to do these efforts. Also with Ron Bryce, conversations where they have a building. It's empty, but they're the ones out. They are trying to sell them. They're trying to rehab them, so it doesn't match there. So again, we may pass this and then start going through this process and just find things that are fitting through interesting cracks and need to come back and look at those and make adjustments. This is not to go after people that are doing their best to get it done.
But we don't want buildings falling through those cracks
Yeah.
either.
Right. I
agree.
This is good. Thank you so much
Yes.
for doing
Yes.
this. This has been needed for a long time. Because, like you pointed out, the connecting buildings, it's not right for somebody that's shares and for somebody not to do a darn thing with it. And then the party next to him suffers.
Yep, exactly.
And that is not right. Sorry, I'm just passionate about
Well,
that.
if there are no other questions, I will move to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-04 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-04 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you so
again.
much. Okay, Resolution R-25-88, a resolution to authorize a real estate purchase agreement between the City of Coffeyville and Kimberly Callaway and Morgan Barbie for the property located at 1309 West 10th Street. And Community Development Director Amber Dean will make comments.
So we have a developer out of Wichita who wants to build in Coffeyville. She actually wants to build on multiple of our land bank lots. This is one of them. She decided to start with one to see how it goes, which is a great option for us. We took it to planning and zoning. They approved it and sent it on up here for approval. It meets, she's going to build a single family residence, $100,000 appraised value. That's what she submitted. 1,100 square foot. We are going to give the real estate for free with the contingency that she has to complete the project or she has to pay $10,000 for the lot. She's agreed to this. It's just to get construction started within 6 months, complete it within 18 months. It's our standard agreement whenever we do this type of thing. And she's responsible for building on the lot as is conditioned.
This is part of our land bank.
Land bank, yes.
Just so people understand.
Yes.
Is there any requirement for the city to approve the construction, the plans, the blueprints?
She has to get a building permit and submit it through our building official.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
I will move to approve Resolution R-25-88 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve Resolution R-25-88 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
And I thank these people for, they're from Wichita, you said?
Yes.
For investing in our
Yes.
community.
Yes. Okay, Resolution R-25-89, a resolution to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with TLC Nursery and Outdoor Living for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of trees as part of the downtown tree planting project. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
Okay. We are wanting to put 20 trees downtown. We spoke with every business, every property owner downtown except 2. They were unable to be reached. Everybody's in favor of it. We had a few that said, don't put it in front of my building. I don't want to block the view of the plaza. So we respected that, didn't put it in the area, and we chose some other areas. 15 of the spots are already green space where trees were at before, and then we have 5 spots that have been filled in with concrete. Trees were there before. We're just going to pull that concrete out, put more trees in. They're going to be Oklahoma redbud trees. They are 1.75 inch to 2 inch caliper. They're going to be in 15-gallon drums. They're about 10 to 12 feet tall already when they plant them, and they come with a 5-year warranty. So that will cover the tree if it dies within 5 years. It doesn't cover the labor, but it does cover the tree.
Okay, nice.
For those owners who didn't want trees in front of or on their in front of their storefronts, would there be any kind of a provision to provide some sort of greenery or some additional, beautification form of bushes, low bushes, or additional giant flower pots or something like them?
That's always an option, or giving it a different type of tree. We're open to that. We decided to start with 20 trees instead of doing like a full, originally my big map had like 40 trees on it. And we were like, let's scale it back a little bit, see how it goes.
Commissioner Faulkner, sorry. The other thing here that's interesting is the relationship that we're trying to have in downtown that was not, I would say it was poor when I came on. We've had surveys of downtown, of the property owners and business owners. We're trying to understand the needs. And so we're also trying to be very aware of each individual circumstance. I know we can't operate like that always. So as we go to our surveys and these questions we've asked, one of the things that has come up over and over again is communication from the city. And so, yes, 2 folks said, don't put it in front of mine now. Part of this is a good relationship, neighbor relationship. We're starting small. People have seen the things we're doing in downtown. We expect it to continue to grow. There is sales tax. I always want to remind people that that's where this money is coming from to do these projects. And so I'm not looking at it as someone said no, should there be a punishment or tough luck or you have to do it. I think they're going to find that they want that. And maybe they're in the group of the next 20. So we're trying to bring in beautification, bring in greenery, have seating, make our downtown appealing, at the same time keep good relationships with people who are investing their money into downtown, because there's a lot who are not. And so I just want to make sure to say that caveat. Of those who have said no, it's because we're asking. We didn't have to. We wanted to and want to have a relationship with all of them down there. Again, we know that we can't not do projects based on every individual, but since it was such a small quantity in those 2 locations, we didn't feel like that would be a big deal.
All right, thank you.
That's what I was going to say. So originally, you were talking about 40 whatever, right?
Yes.
So cut it in half to see how this goes. So then, when your next round comes up,
We'll revisit the ones that said no, thank you.
Haven't. And, if they still, I would think that once they see what their concerns were, maybe these first 20 will answer those concerns. Even if they don't, I like what you said about maybe working with them on something else, because we need to be city friendly as far as downtown. And like you said, we didn't have to ask, but we should.
But it was the right thing to do.
It was the right thing to do.
A lot of them have been putting things outside their buildings on their own too, and that's one thing that several of them have also said is, when do we get to a point where there's a theme that we can all work and build off of? And so we want to be very aware of that too as decisions are made in the future. So yes, we have a plan for downtown. It's moving forward. We're engaging with the chamber, with Reawakening, with other groups to make sure that we are planning for the future, multiple years out in advance. We're still in very beginning stage. We're trying to do some impactful things now, but we want to continue to engage with these property and business owners and bring them even more of a focal point of what needs to happen down there. Amber, could you also just go back to the trees, the size that we expect them to get to? Are these fruit bearing or not fruit bearing? Some of the things that we've learned, tolerance, drought versus water, what the root systems do. We've looked at all of these, I believe, and these were recommendations from the
I've learned
nurseries.
so much about trees, more than I've ever wanted to know.
Everything you ever thought you would.
Never in my life did I think I would know this much about trees. So the root system, it will not get larger than the space we're putting it in. We made sure of that. It's great for being around concrete. That's why we've selected these trees. It's not fruit bearing. It does have red buds on it, so it's very pretty. It will get between 12 to 15 feet at full maturity, and then spread out with a canopy to 10 to 12 feet out. And then they'll do great downtown. That's what TLC has told us.
I don't see any, on your map, I don't see any around City Hall.
We already have
We already have trees.
We have trees around City Hall.
We did that several years ago.
Yeah. Okay, and so, if I'm reading this correctly, installation by August 15th, is that correct? Or is that just a sample of?
That was just whenever we got the quote and everything,
Okay.
what they would do.
Okay.
So
And then
I would project it'd be probably another 2 to 3 weeks before they
Okay,
could actually
all
do
right.
it.
And then, they will need to be watered 3 times per week until the weather breaks in that's past that, September. And then twice weekly from September to October. All this, of course, depends on when installed.
Yes.
And then once weekly until the first hard freeze in November, and then 6 times over the winter,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. To
So-
prevent against dry the dry winter.
And this is a interesting dynamic on what do we do there. Do we take that on ourselves? The history, not the last 14 months, we've been doing really good. We've been getting better and better. We've got this Parks Department that is focused. They've done an amazing job in our downtown on the mowing and the weeds and keeping up. But we're spending a lot of money on trees. We're investing in some of the, removing these, handful of the cement areas. So we want to make sure that we have someone there that is taking care of them, that knows trees, that's going to water them, that's going to have schedule. We're already paying for watering within our flowers. So we could, as an option, attempt to do it as a city. And I think that Jared and our crew could get on top of that. But, our seasonal people are, like we already mentioned, slowly falling off. How much longer does the grass take? And so I'm just concerned that we lose trees for maybe our not purposeful neglect, but
Right.
neglect from
Just-
city staff. So I think that's still a debatable item. We went out and quoted these. We asked for full picture quotes, and that's what TLC was
Okay.
able to do, is everything in between, even including removing that concrete. So, there's an adjustment there. Some of these things we can adjust if commissioners feel that that's warranted.
I
I
agree
think
with
we
that.
need to have TLC do it. They're the experts. They're the ones that's going to keep the trees alive because they know what they're doing.
And then in time, like you said, maybe
We can take it over,
build
but at
up to
least
that.
for a year or two, we need to have the experts taking care of these
Yeah,
trees.
because this is
Yeah.
a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, it is what it is. And I think it's going to look,
We want
Good.
it to stay looking nice.
yes.
Is there anything significant about the difference between the green and the yellow push pins, or do you just run out of one color?
The green is the existing green space. The yellow is where the concrete has to be torn up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So some of my concerns were, you addressed some of them, was with these spaces where it's just surrounded completely by concrete or road, how is enough water going to get to the tree? And I thought, is there going to be a future plan to try to maybe get some rain that would funnel to these places so they could, because that little square you're talking about is not a lot of surface area to get
It's It's
rain
not.
or water down in there, and that is a concern to me, is figuring out how to get more water in there when it does rain. And then I personally was more in favor of our parks doing the watering to get this going, and that part of that is to get in the habit of taking care of them from the beginning and making sure it's done right, because I'm thinking,
Yeah, but I want to get the plants
but
established.
a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I think they probably may need to be watered again, and so what are you looking for to monitor that? When do you see signs that, okay, we need to go dump some water on there because we're in a dry spell? And so looking at that, and I would rather, I know it's extra work on the parks, I fully realize that, but I would like to take some of that money and look at repairing the crosswalks as well, because some of the crosswalks are just atrocious.
Yeah, so money on crosswalks in our transportation plans, those crosswalks have been listed and we've had those conversations. So this, I don't think this is an either or situation, because we have that transportation money, and we've presented that as plans in downtown as well.
Could there be possibility of TLC telling or training or leaving instructions on how our parks should water them, and frequency, and
Yeah,
how much?
I think they have
They would
that
be
written.
more than willing to talk about how to water and everything. They've taught me about watering our flower plants downtown, so I think they would be open to working with our parks.
That's my only hang up on that.
I'm with Deb. I'd like to get them established.
Exactly. I want somebody that knows what they're doing to get these trees established and growing
Then
well. Then we can take them over.
Teach our Parks Department what to do.
That's
you
what,
know,
that's what they do. They plant trees. That's
Well,
their
I'm thinking
job.
watering trees can't be that hard if
Well-
the instructions are left.
What's the 90-day and the 5-year, and is that, if we take over watering, do those things change?
For the 5-year, no. The 5-year is on the tree itself. The 90-day is if it dies, they'll come back with the labor and plant them and everything.
90 days is the labor. But if we don't water them,
I think that
5-year.
would void their warranty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to void the warranty because we're not doing our,
Well-
because we don't know.
yeah, parks can do it.
Well, I'm not
They-
saying they
they-
can't. I
yeah.
don't think you are either.
No, I'm not
But
saying they can't.
Just
Well,
like
I,
Does
to get 'em
Jared really want that
established.
extra responsibility? That may be a question to ask Jared how he feels.
Jared will step up and take
Oh, I
on
know he
anything.
will.
I know he will,
Step
but
up.
he
Yes,
may
that's
not
Jared.
think it's the best thing to do.
I'm just,
Yeah.
get established.
I'm just looking at, is it worth the cost?
Rather than a dead tree.
Well, you're assuming we'll automatically have a dead tree if our
No, I'm
own
assuming,
crude
I'm
waters
not
it.
assuming anything. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
It's a stretch possibility, but if they water as instructed, it could.
You can water them.
We
There you go.
we did.
We have people to do that.
I got a green 2-gallon can you could use.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come on down.
Yeah.
We can just vote on the dang thing.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, Paul, is, maybe we need to go discuss with property owners that do want these and adopt a tree. Can you help us with the watering, help make sure that's happening? So I think we can make that adjustments. Look, we did the watering for the landscape here at City Hall. It was our facilities department did it. Our trees are alive so far. Let's find some wood. Our grass is doing good here. That was all new this
Okay.
last year. So, I don't want this to be a hang-up project because we're not doing it now. Is Parks stretched? Yes, they're stretched. In fact, we had a meeting today to talk about, what we wanted to be was more than just mowers with our parks, because that's what it's been for a long time, and get into these parks with the maintenance and cleaning. And it's been getting done, but it's because of the help with those temp staff. Now, we still have those temp staff till October, so outside of them leaving, we have enough people that we can support that if that's
Liked your idea there. They could even, like out at Leclerc Park, have a little sign, this tree has been adopted by XYZ.
I mean, that's a thought, and I don't want the maintenance to be a hang up on whether we do this or not. but it's just something we need to talk about for details.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve Resolution R-25-89 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples, to approve Resolution R-25-89 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
No.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. Okay, Resolution R-25-90. A resolution to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement for the installation of fencing and the development of dog parks at 3 city-owned locations, downtown, Sycamore Park, and Walter Johnson Park. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
Okay, so this started with, we have an issue with dogs in downtown, actually. So we were trying to come up with a way to have a place for people to take their dogs whenever, because we have people who live downtown, we have people who work downtown that bring their dogs to work, and they walk them down the alleys and to the little green spaces. We have this perfect location that already has a waste station at it, and we were like, why not put a dog park there? I took it to my favorite city manager and was like, let's get a dog park, and he said, let's explore more. So we did, and I got with Jared and Jim, and we decided Sycamore Park and Walter Johnson Park. Let's put a dog park there. It spreads it across town. Walter Johnson, it's right off the highway. It will grab people off the highway and get them to stay in Coffeyville a little bit more. And then you have Sycamore that's off in a neighborhood, and they can take their dogs to the park and their kids to the park, and they can have a nice day.
Yep.
So that's where we came up with these 3 locations. Downtown's going to cost $6,000, Sycamore $8,250, and then Walter Johnson is projected to be $11,000. We are looking at a different location in Walter Johnson Park. We were going to put it next to the softball fields. They came back and said, we hit a lot of home runs, so maybe we need to rethink this.
Okay.
So we're looking at other areas. We still want it at Walter Johnson. We want to keep it around the same size. It may get smaller, so the cost may be a little bit lower, but we definitely want it at that location.
Amber's trying not to point out the location we want because she hasn't got confirmation from me. So I did talk with Recreation. So if you're looking at the Recreation building directly to our right, there's a square there. It's got a few trees and things in it. They didn't have any concerns with that being there. So that would be the location at Walter. We wanted to be really careful because I didn't want to take, in fact, Amber would say, Walter Johnson Park, and I went, nope, not going to work. And then she showed me the location. I'm like, okay, that will. And then we tried again because I'm concerned with our trailer parking, the livestock that happens there. We don't want to just go take up area. We don't want to take the children's park spot. So these are areas that are just pretty much grass and not really used.
Well, and that's great. That's a little closer to the RV park and people with RVs, and they'll have their dogs, and that would be much more convenient for them.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
You could maybe even make a trail to the hotels.
We could.
This is very good. It's something many in our community have wanted for a long time. And so kudos to you for putting this together. And, yeah, I think it's wonderful.
I do think it.
Go ahead. I do
Go
want a
ahead.
preference, like, if you guys approve this, it's not going to be built tomorrow.
Yeah.
As part of a bigger plan, we're going to take over potentially dog licensing, and more on the animal control thing. So
Okay.
it's going to be this one big project that we're going to be doing.
Part of the big plan. Okay.
It's a bigger
that's
plan.
good.
We will have signage that says, make sure your dogs are vaccinated, and have like a list of rules at the park to cover everybody as well. So
So question, who's going to regulate that? Is it like code enforcement watch it, code enforcement clean it when it doesn't get cleaned? Who's going to do that kind of stuff?
I think it's going to be a dual effort. Code enforcement will watch to make sure no dogs left, they're licensed, they're not just there without an owner, and then parks would come in, mow, maintain. So it's a dual effort across multiple departments.
Licensing being a key here as we talk about our animal control plan in town, as we try to work even more with the Coffeyville Friends of Animals that we haven't done before. as we
Okay.
try to educate the public, because a lot of them are out there not recognizing those ordinances. Licensing is a big thing. What licensing says to us is you have got rabies for your dog, and so if it bites someone, or if there's sometimes an injured animal in the street, animal control's trying to pick it up and it bites them, then we have 10-day quarantine period. So licensing is very important, and so that's going to be the main rule. So from a code enforcement perspective, on those licensing of animals. So parvo, these things could be a concern. The rules will be posted. We're going to do our best to make sure that this is a safe place for someone to take their dog, not meant to be something that just gets
Well, and not a dumping
trashed.
ground.
Yeah,
Right.
and look, this is a fence in a grass area. We say dog park, but right now there's not planned to put something for the dog to jump up on or anything else. This is just a fenced-in area to take.
Okay, start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We got it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
So what happened to Feaster Park?
That just wasn't one of the parks we looked at.
Okay, so it could be maybe.
It could be in the
Later.
future if
Okay.
you guys decide you want more
So these
dog
are,
parks.
This is again, we're starting slow, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-90 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-90 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now, Resolution R-25-91, a resolution to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Siemens Incorporated to provide circuit breakers and associated parts for the B substation transformer upgrade project. Executive Director of Electric, Chris Weiner, will make comments. Good evening.
Thank you for having us again. I'll try and get out of here quickly, so I'll be quick and let John jump in here as well. But so this is for the CRNF project, the transformer project we've been talking about a few different times here recently, and so just need to get some circuit breakers. We've got larger transformers coming in. We have more amperage coming through, and so we'll have to have the larger circuit breakers to make it work. This portion of the projects, as we've discussed in the past, will all be 100% reimbursed by CRNF to the city through the bond financing. Yeah, John, have anything else to add?
No, other than they're going to 125 MVA from 75. They're at 2,000 amp circuit breakers. It needs to be 3,000. All the relays need to be upgraded to
For those capacity.
that also.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope. I will move to approve Resolution R-25-91 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-25-91 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
All right, Resolution R-25-92, a resolution to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to J. Graham Construction to demo and replace the steps at the steam plant for the electric utility. And again, Director of Electric, Chris Weiner, will make comments.
Thank you, and I'll actually let Mr. Carson take these next two as he's here. And I don't think we've had a chance to introduce him yet, now that I think of it. So he's replaced Mr. Lawson as our new Director of Electrical Generation.
And your name is what?
John Carson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, welcome.
The stairs on the southwest entrance for the steam plant, they're in bad shape. There's pictures attached to it's also the clean air tunnel for the basement. Okay, this is how you get fresh air down to the basement for working in that area. There's 2 louvers on both sides, and it's pumping fresh air down there so people can get the quality air that's needed. This infrastructure leaks real bad on the top. It's all broken. When we were catching this rain a couple months ago, it floods out the basement. We have to keep, pumps going to get that water out so it doesn't mess up the things we're doing. So We had the construction company come on and give us this quote for replacement of kind, tear it down, replace it back the same way. And that's where we're at.
Okay.
Just a question, did you have any other construction firms look at it or quote?
Yes, sir. Mueller Construction and Decker Construction also, all quoting the same thing, and this was the lowest quote.
Okay.
Okay, so you're, excuse me, you're our new Director of Electric Generation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long have you been with us already?
Since May, sir.
Since May,
In
all
this
right.
position.
In this position. He was with the city previously. He was in our meter shop. He joined the city actually the same exact day that I did, so about a year ago. So.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Well, good.
All right.
And extensive experience at CVR,
Okay.
both as a union member and then also as management over there. So he has a lot of experience. We're really happy to have him.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. If no questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-92 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-92 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Okay, Resolution R-25-93, a resolution to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Chandler Oil for the purchase of 6,500 gallons of Shell Micella S3 N40 bulk oil for the electric utility. John, our
Yes, ma'am.
Director of, make sure I get your title right, of Electric Generation, John Carson will make comments. Did I get it right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So this is basically, like everybody's car that is in the parking lot. These are our 3 engines out there. After they hit a certain amount of hours, the oil needs to be changed, and that's where we're at right here. So it takes, 6,500 gallons to fill our tank outside. When we get to the 4-foot minimum line, it's time to fill this up, and then we will out with the old oil, in with the new.
Okay. All right.
Just a question.
My question every time on something like this is 6,500 gallons enough?
So it is the maximum that we can accept with the tank size that we have. If we wanted to order earlier, before we reach that 4-foot line, we would need a much larger tank to be able to hold more oil.
Okay.
Or we'd have to get a second tank.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, good. All right. If there's no further questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-93 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-93 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
Thank you too.
Thanks.
All right, we will move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I know we're going late here. I'll try to get through these things quick. So let's hit the big one first, which is Sycamore area and the log jam that's there. We've had residents reaching out, I know, to commissioners and to ourselves for a number of months. So I thought I'd give a quick background and then talk about how complex this issue is, and then if there's any direction that commissioners want staff to take. Around April timeframe, we were notified of some trees that went down in this area, and the standard response from the city, because that's true, is when trees go down in private property, that is the property owner's responsibility. These trees made it into the creek there. They have held up other branches and logs and things that have come through as well, and has created a significant log jam that's there. I went out to the site on Monday, asked the property owners if I could go out through their property to look at the backside. There are another 3 trees that have come down on the back end of this log jam. Most of them appeared that most of the branches have probably been washed away at this point. They're significant size trees that have come down. In addition to that, you have somewhere between 6 and 10 other trees that's just a matter of time before they come down. One really big one, most of the embankment has come in, all the roots are exposed. These trees are going to come down. So the problem's not over once the log jam is addressed. I think it will continue in this area. Just the erosion of the creek that comes in. Talking to the property owners, that creek fills up and moves in and encroaches on the remainder of their property. In this area, one property owner has the portion right south of 4th Street. The creek is part of their property. The other area, the property lines meet in the center of the creek. Complex here, of course, in fact, Jim might want to just come up here anyway so he can answer some of these questions too. I might pass to him, but we had several conversations. I talked to the Army Corps of Engineers back in April. Got an unofficial response, which is they're not coming to do anything. The Army Corps of Engineers manages the waterways. They're more concerned about the bank and putting it back in the condition that you left it. So as we go through this process, where should the city step in? Where is this a responsibility of a private citizen? And this is like I said, it's a perfect storm here on both sides of what you do. It was brought to my attention, and I believe this is accurate, that most everything west of Klein is draining into this creek. So the city does have a vested interest if this floods, if water floods, and having to come in and address an emergency at that point.
Do we put stormwater into the creek?
Well, yeah, nearly everything west of Klein is draining into there. Some of it is through the ditch systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So vested interest on that front. Right now we're talking probably 2 property owners that are touching this log jam. If the city was to get in and say, you know what, we're going to come and take this responsibility upon ourselves, then from a staff perspective, we need direction on the other 40 properties that somehow connect to this creek. And beyond that, it was pointed out to me today by another staff member that there's many other, when a creek that small, I don't know it's called tributaries or what, but all these little sections that come off. And so the quantity of property owners with trees on their property that could affect these water systems is large. This is not something that is budgeted within the general fund for us to go maintain those trees. Now, if you were to say, let's come in and let's manage this appropriately, the city would say one of that options, probably that extreme of manage appropriately, would be, do you address any trees within 6 or 12 feet along those embankments? Now, a lot of those provide shade, and it's beautiful in there. Property owners don't necessarily want that all cut back 6 feet. So again, these are a lot of extremes on either sides here that we need to ultimately address. So, Jim, if you want to talk about conversations with the Corps and with the county and some of those options, I will bring up one option. We did have the fire department go out, concern the amount of diesel that would be needed to get that thing burning and stay burning on some of those big logs. We may have issues where that diesel gets into the river flow and have a problem. So that's not optimal. We could probably burn some of it, but not long-term solution. Also, I did speak to Rick Whitson at the county from an emergency standpoint. We reached out to some of the state agencies as well that have waterway statutes and laws, and don't have any feedback there from any support that would come. So with that, I'll turn it to Jim here.
I did talk, I did talk to the Corps of Engineers. I've talked to more than one person. What we can do, someone can go in there with an excavator and pull out everything and haul it off. But in order to do that, you'd have to have someone on the ground cutting them up, because some of these are large trees. They're 80 foot long or more. Or you could get down in there with the chainsaw and cut them up into 6 to 8 foot lengths and let nature take its course, float them away. But in that case, there's going to be more trees falling in the future, and those may get hung up there. Talk to the county, and they have a large excavator with a mulching head on it, and they can come and mulch them up where they are. And the Corps was, at first, thought that might have been adding fill to the creek, but I got clarification that is not considered putting fill in there. So the chips will just float away. So there are some options, or leave it up to the property owner, because all that is private property, and no matter who gets in there, whether it's us, Mullers, or whoever, somebody will have to fix what is disturbed coming out of the yards.
So, another way to look at that, and again, I've had conversations with a lot of residents that have called in about this and suggested some of these options. And again, I'm trying to point out extremes on both sides. There are property owners in the area that their property does not touch that creek, but they are concerned that because of that jam, would that flood and hit their residence. So when you look at the Verdigris River, obviously much bigger, those are drainage districts. There's taxes levied within there. That goes through the county for the Verdigris River. We actually manage the maintenance of the drainage district that bumps up against the city here. And so there's a tax levied on that, and that goes to paying for city's time, equipment, staff to go out there and maintain that levee. Again, an extreme option, if we go this way, you could say, do you levy? Another extreme would be, there are communities as close as Fredonia that, if a tree falls in a yard, it's a code enforcement issue where they'll come out and say, you got to get this moved and address it, or there's fines to not have that moved. Do you go that route? Back to the city just taking it. We could pay the county to come in and chip all of this up. We could go in and have pay to have the yards restored. We could go in and pay to have trees cut down that are probably going to fall down in the next big storm. So this is more than just this one log jam. It will start implicating other areas in town and how the city should address it, and what is that fair and equal treatment that we try to bring when it comes to taxpayers' dollars here. We could chip it this time and then enforce from code enforcement. We could just take it over and start doing it, managing that up and down, but that job could become very big.
Question, do people have the misconception that once it falls in the creek, it's not their problem anymore? Do they think that is city property, the creek, or do they think their property line goes right up to the bank of the creek and then after that it's not their problem? Do they?
I can't answer what people are thinking, but but the amount of phone calls and the attention it's got on Facebook would lead me to believe that most people think it's the city's responsibility.
So if a tree in a yard is dead and it falls over and blocks the street, whose responsibility is it to clear that off the street? It would be a similar situation. It's causing a public nuisance, meaning the creek could back up. That's a public nuisance, blocking the street, public nuisance, same thing. Do we have ordinances that cover things like that currently? Mr. Kreitz?
Yeah, Commissioner Hendricks, I
don't know that we have an ordinance to address that specific situation. I believe that if a tree fell on a street, I think technically the property owner would be responsible, but I think as a practical matter, the city gets out there and cuts it up because it's blocking a public way.
Well, most people wouldn't have the means to get it, especially in an emergency situation, means to get it out of the way.
Well, oftentimes we may cut that up, move it, put it back on the property, and move on to the next issue. They still need to deal with it as a property owner, their tree.
Well, if I could, offer a kind of a corollary, if I've got 2 trees on my property and storm comes by and both of them fall into the street, they're my trees. They went in the street. Now whose responsibility is it? Is it mine or the city's, because they're now blocking the street and nobody can get by? But what happens if I've got 5 or 6 trees and they all go down? Is it still my responsibility? What, now there's neighbor across the street has a heart attack, an ambulance can't get to him. Now it becomes an emergency issue. In terms of Sycamore, there was a similar situation, when was it, 83? When a woman actually lost her life because Sycamore flooded. She went out in the, I can't remember what her name is, she went down in the back, out in her yard in the back and was swept away and drowned. So I think we've reached a point where, yes, a long-term solution, whether it's ordinance, informing the residents that are along Sycamore of their responsibilities, but I think we've reached a point where we, the city, now from a practical standpoint, have to address that and make that logjam go away.
Yeah. We have to take care of it this time, I think.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
And go
So
from there.
let me make sure that some of those questions, so like you said, assessing fees to going in, are you opposed to assessing the fees from the trees from property owners? In this case, now I'm not necessarily talking about the log jam. I think enough debris has come down the river, but this is going to happen again. This is, you got
what you
5
brought
or
up,
6.
the dirt keeps eroding. Are we going to go back in and rebuild those banks, put the dirt back and big rocks to stop that permanently?
And I spoke to a former commissioner who actually saw people pushing debris into the creek, knowingly pushing it into the creek, which would eventually contribute to the log jam.
And if we
So
don't,
there
we
are
should have an
issues there.
ordinance against that, if you're caught doing that, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
And
a
there
long,
is none.
That's
that's a
gonna be
long
hard to-
list of
Yeah.
people that
But
would
I know.
apply to that.
Police that.
And when,
Well,
when it happens at night.
Exactly.
You would have to be, it would have to be seen, but at least it would be
but,
there.
I mean, if you go that route, let's just say that, and your tree falls, you didn't cut it and push it in the river, but now it just fell over and went in the river. That's the same thing at some point here. So that's where I think staff is looking for the direction from commissioners on how do you then want us to treat this? We go in, we chip this up, we take care of the yard, we walk away, and a storm comes in a month and 3 more trees go down in there and block everything. Are we gonna, do you want staff to just continue to address that and assume that that is a responsibility of the city and of staff? Because like I said, when people call today and there's a tree down, there's large branches in their yard, that is private property, that's the
Can we get
ownership
some
of the tree.
clarification, maybe what some other towns do when private properties from both sides of a creek meet in the middle, and so there's no city property there? What do those
No easement at all there.
towns do? What's the rules on what they,
Yeah,
everybody has to deal with something
we can
like
go ask
this
people.
all over.
Yeah,
And let's,
see what other cities are
Yeah.
doing. Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
and if say, you could almost clock this under emergency management, is if something the roots are eroded, they're exposed, the tree is imminent to fall into the creek, we have a rural ordinance, or something has to be done with it, and whether they want to,
So,
what do? You got to do something before something happens.
everybody's listening and probably mad that I'm being contrary, and I'm not trying to be. I realize this is an issue. I also want to just point out from the staff side what that means. So now we're talking about getting into the creek. Now we can see this area because it's easy accessible. You can just drive by and see this is a problem. But if we're talking to that level of, now it becomes an emergency, and is that an active thing that we want to go up and down these 40 properties and be searching that out? This goes back to easement. You want us to get vehicles in. We can get a vehicle in at this location. Most of these other locations is at the back of a property owner. They have fences. We're not getting big equipment in there. So, the ability to do that in other locations, I think we're okay here. If we go make ordinances and we have to go and police that, again, now we're talking, do we cut out 6 to 12 feet so that there is drive easement through there?
Well, we have rules for other things, and I don't like the idea that the private property owner thinks it's not my problem if the tree's against the creek and it falls over. Not my problem. It is their problem.
I'm going to their benefit, they're not adding the water to the creek. It is eroding away. You know, force of nature is also causing that. But, you know, force of nature blows it into your yard the other way. You have to take care of it. So I get it. This is just a really hard place to be.
That's why I was
inside of
asking,
a
what do
city.
other cities, towns do all over the U.S. to have this similar situation?
I just pulled up we do have an ordinance. It's called Water Course Protection. It says every person owning property through which a water course passes or such person's lessee shall maintain that part of the water course within the property reasonably free of trash, debris, excessive vegetation, grass clippings, leaves, garden debris, tree limbs and branches, and other obstacles that would pollute, contaminate, or significantly retard the flow of water through the water course.
So there's the
There it is.
ordinance.
That's it.
There it
We
is.
have the ordinance, yeah.
What's the penalty?
It doesn't say, so I think it's one of those unclassified things that would be up to a fine of up to $500.
Might suggest that ordinance be delivered to all property owners along Sycamore Creek so that they are in fact aware.
Because most of them probably aren't.
Yes.
I would think that'd be something that
The problem
when you
with
bought the
yeah.
home is brought out where your property line is. And I would think that you just read should be made known to them when that transaction takes place somehow.
Maybe they still need a reminder.
Yes, if you've been there
In
a
this
while, you may have forgotten.
specific case, what does the ordinance say when it comes downstream and log jams in your
It
property?
doesn't
It's
say.
like not your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to trace that tree to that property.
And that ain't good. So
But
in
I-
this
So it
case,
becomes-
I think if the county could get in there with that mulcher and just grind it up. for
You know,
now.
and maybe the thing to do is to do an inventory of trees that are in danger of falling and tell the property owner that you've got to take care of that tree before it falls.
Yeah, so, you know, if we go that route and we can see them, because we can't see all of them, and we notify them of a problem, again, direction of commission, are we then, at that time, when it's the next log jam, saying, these trees came down, this is a you problem, up
Yes.
until it's gonna now affect everyone in all the neighborhoods, and we need to
It is an
address it as an
ordinance.
emergency.
It is an ordinance, and if it's enforced, it would be whatever a fine a judge would decide. Right, Mr. Kraft?
That's right, that's right. The last line of this ordinance says the property owner shall be responsible for maintaining and stabilizing that portion of the water course that is within their property lines in order to protect against erosion and degradation of the water course originating or contributed from their property.
Okay. What's the number of that ordinance?
42-363,
42-3.
363.
363, thank you.
So, we would need a approval then to engage the county, you know, if we can chip it all up. We may still have to get in, pull some out. If we can't, to fix the yards, obviously have to get permission here to get in there. If that's how we want to act, I think we can go get that done upon is that a resolution to spend money essentially? So we need a resolution from commission so we can go spend that money to do that project. And then I just want to make sure I'm hearing appropriately is we are looking at this as this is now emergency situation because it could cause wider damage. But in the future, city should address this as we see trees come down to the property owners so that they can go then and address the tree before it turns into
Yes.
blockages.
In accordance with this ordinance.
Okay.
And when a single tree falls down, you should know where it came from.
Oh, yeah.
But this situation's different.
So do we have any idea what this is going to cost?
The county quoted us, I think, 1,000 to 1,500 a day to use that equipment, and they
Okay.
believe it would take 4 days. And then, you know, this is a big track equipment, so we're going to be tearing up yard. We'll have to go talk to property owners about that, and so we'll have to get someone like a mower to come back in and help us
turn the yard back into.
Notwithstanding that expense, that sounds like that's still under your threshold. Is that correct?
That is correct, but I guess what I'm asking within the resolution is that you're saying this is an emergency, go spend that money, because this is not something from a daily operations that we would
Yeah.
then
Yes.
choose to go do.
Well, yeah, but it's,
So,
What is your thought?
And it's also an amount it's to be determined at this point. It's, you want us to spend enough money to go get the log jam out and clean up. And so, right now, sure, it could be under 25,000, but as you go through this project and
Yeah, how bad are
it
those- how
does the
other-
bank fall away, and now so.
Well, just to get rid of the log jam sounds like less than 10.
Yeah.
10K.
Take
I
take
just
care
say
of the
go do it.
emergency first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go do
so
it.
log jam, but then cleaning up after ourselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
And which will be
Right.
on top of
Okay.
the 6 grand.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunately, yes, in this case.
I mean, I think we've got an emergency situation that's got to be
Yeah.
taken care of, but then we need to get the maintenance of the home.
For the future.
For the
When-
future.
When was that ordinance enacted?
I just X'd out of it.
Sorry.
I think it was '07.
Okay.
Yeah, so post-flood, maybe?
I was gonna say,
Honestly, don't
very
remember
post
that.
of that area, yeah.
But I
Your
do.
fault.
Well,
But
we
then
had
we-
another issue that we had a log jam under the old UP Railroad Bridge, south of 11th Street, the highway, and that was an old wooden truss that was real close together, and it log jammed up, and that's what caused that backup. And so UP went in with a new bridge, concrete, post really far apart, and stuff is able to flow through, and that creek's never flooded since then.
Yeah, but we can't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, it does back up.
We gotta do our,
Yeah.
Well, fix it.
Is
Do
that
this
a-
now.
Can we get a resolution then to approve city manager to engage the county to take out emergency log jam, and then whatever action is needed to restore property back to
Yes.
its
So
current
moved.
condition?
I'll second.
yes, and then we'll go from
Yeah.
there.
And
We need a
appropriate
vote.
language for that.
Yeah, I didn't
right.
catch all of that, so.
Okay.
For the city manager to engage the county
Okay.
emergency log jam.
And I'm sorry, the motion was made by Commissioner Faulkner, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve the city manager.
To engage with the county to help remove the
And
log
whomever
jam.
else.
Yeah, and then also to restore the property to original condition.
Okay.
I would like to add a caveat, and you mentioned restoring. Future erosion of Sycamore. I don't know how it would be appropriate to address that, if there is a way to do that, other than trying to straighten it out as much as possible so there's no bends or curves and water will flow straight through, but we don't have, if somebody mentions it, I think I could speak for the commission. We don't want a Tom Pendergast coming in here and proposing that we line Sycamore Creek with concrete like they did in Kansas City in the 30s. So property, the individual property owners have got to be responsible for their own property.
Yeah, you do. So.
We need to talk
we
more
do
about what that
this.
means later.
So go ahead and.
Let's vote.
Read
Okay,
that.
yeah, let's go ahead and, okay. So motion is made by Commissioner Faulkner, seconded by Mayor Maples to engage the city manager, or to approve the city manager to engage the county to help remove the logjam at Sycamore Creek and restore the affected properties. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
And then we're going to work on so that everybody is notified that they've got to attend to their property.
Yeah, I think we'll,
And no dumping, no anything.
yeah, we
If that's
can
going on.
address that ordinance there's much more locations than just Sycamore in
Yes.
town that has that, so maybe that's some Facebook marketing we can do and some letters that can go out. We have a special place on the utility bill, so we'll go look into how to address that. Coffeyville Proud this Friday, city staff and volunteers from the community. We have, I think, over 50 at this point. More keep coming in and wanting to help. So we're out doing projects this Friday. We will still have staff in both customer service and utility billing during that time if people come in. Senior Center, I'm so happy that they came. I'm on Facebook telling everybody to please come in, please come talk to us. They came in, they were just an extremely respectful crowd, willing to work, gave a solution. What more could we ask for from examples from our community? So thankful that they came in and approached it that way. And I will reach out to James. I got his phone number. He's the one that stood up to present, and visit more with him to make sure that we fully understand their desire, needs, and that they understand our approach and where we're at. This process is purely in the discovery phase, asking for community feedback. And that's exactly what they're doing, is giving that feedback, so we appreciate it. 4th Street's done. However, it's not exactly done. It's a little bumpy. We have our inspector for that project. Jim and Thomas have been talking with them. They've got some feedback on why and what they think the resolution is. We're still questioning that and asking for greater clarification. So I know a few people have noticed a few of those extra bumps and are asking the why. The inspector's reasoning is that whoever's on the roller, it's fast and slow stops, it's sitting there waiting, that they also suggest that with heat and weight of vehicles that would flatten out. Again, we've pushed back from the inspector to ask for greater clarification on that. Tennis courts, we'll have an update. I think it may have already gone out, asking about timeline. We're by end of September, we're probably done with Mid-American courts. They'll have everything done. But the remainder of that project, which I think even I forget to articulate, that project included work that city staff needed to either do or contract out. And so we've got the road projects that are happening out there. That's what the parking lot will be done with. Those are fall projects. We're including the sidewalks, kind of re-putting in the sidewalks within that. So this is fall, end of fall. So in the springtime, people will be able to have everything done. By October, the courts are done. People could go in and play, but you might be stepping through mud or construction for sidewalks and parking lot and things like that. So we're updating that through Facebook as those things come up. The only other thing, did you want to say anything about cereal malt?
Yes, so we got notification last week. The Kansas Department of Revenue has changed the process for cereal malt beverages. Not super clear on all the intricacies of this yet, but there is the city clerk's group has set up a call with the Kansas Department of Revenue, I believe August 21st, somewhere in there, to get more clarification. But basically, the way it's worked before is they would come and apply with me. I would do the background checks, the inspections, make sure everything is good, come to you guys for approval, and then send it to the state. Now they are going to have the applicants send the application straight to the state. The state will review it, and if they approve it, they will send it back to the applicant for the applicant then to return to the city to bring to the commission. Now, it doesn't state in there anything of, the background checks or the inspections. So I'll have more information after we have that call with the Kansas Department of Revenue to see exactly how this is going to work, because there's a lot of questions right now of exactly how this is going to work. But I'll know more after that call, and hopefully the next commission meeting be able to update that. So the process will be a little bit different, but as soon as I get the information, I'll start notifying our applicants of the change of procedure and what they need to do from there.
That's all.
Okay.
Comments from commission?
Just want to encourage our community to go out to the fairgrounds this week and support the Montgomery County Fair Association and all their effort that they're doing and what they're putting on this week. And tomorrow, I know they're having their parade. It starts at 5, which is a different time than they have before. So I hope people will be downtown and watch that. Another thing I see are comments about what's going on with A Street? When's that going to be redone and everything? I'm not going to say anything about that. But it's been out there, moving the water lines from the street over to the south side, correct, of the road? Okay. Out of the street is what they're working on, and I know that's going to entail a large project. So I just want to remind...
$3 million project just
How
for
much?
the, $3 million for the water
$3 million.
line.
So it is being worked on. We have talked about it multiple times up here. So just, it will be done. It's on the slate for next year, but all this prep work has to go in. And so understand that, please.
Because if we don't do that right, the 8th Street, the
Right.
overlay is just...
Yeah, and we don't...
We don't want to do that.
No.
We want to do it right.
Right, and we need to get those water lines moved so we can get it done right. So I just see that asked a lot, and it's almost asked like we've never discussed it up here before, and we've been talking about it all this year. So just please remember that. And the other thing is our sales tax report that was in our packet, very good. That's going up. The money that was collected in July, remember that's 2 months behind, so it was actually May receipts. And we had a very good March, especially, that we have to put into, we had the turnaround going on. So, but still, but we were at $614,000 for sales tax and use tax collected. So in March we had 718, we went down in April, but we went up. So the more everybody shops local, and of course then we have out-of-town people come in and spend their money, whether it's buying gas, being at a convenience store or whatever, or food or whatever, all that contributes. The more that's collected, the more we can take and do the projects that we want to do and make this community better. That's all.
I had one question about the parade. After the parade, is the street sweeper?
Yes. Street sweeper will be out after the parade.
Talked about last night. Talk about-
I didn't read anything else.
Just the takeaway.
So,
Okay, 'cause I don't want them
if there's nothing else, I will move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, got you.
See what I'm saying?
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.